Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
He's nothing if not petty.
Oh, no.
It's one of the things I really like about him. He keeps a list.
Oh,
He's like me and you.
I'm probably on it, but
Oh, well, I don't think there's much doubt that you and I are on it.
we're getting ready. Obviously, what are you doing over there?
I got some issues.
Okay, went to the doctor today.
I did.
Is that what you did?
And I took the thing off too soon.
Got
It's still
yourself a
bleeding.
shot? You're not bleeding. You're fine. Talking about
Nice.
the JE11 Games with Name podcast. 2.5
2 hours and 20 minutes.
I am through an
So-
hour and 20 minutes.
So I
of
now
it.
look forward to this email to
Right,
tell me
yeah.
what I will never listen
Yeah.
to.
You were the
Sunny's out in
quarterback.
uniform.
Would you insist your center shower before practice?
Yeah, especially with a loofah.
But
It's unlikely
you
that
might
you're
have
gonna-
two. We have our small unit, now we have our big unit. You know,
It's possible.
Right.
you know?
Possible.
Good for you.
about your
Just
big
talking
unit?
about units.
I think that was you.
He said it and then tried to pin it on me. I
He's
don't
got
know.
a big unit.
Yeah, I mean, you still got the crank windows, Paul. You need to get a new car.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Thursday here at Gillette Stadium, and we're live from our new studio. We've got our 5-person setup today because
There's only 3 of us.
picks. Yeah, we're going to fill it in.
Gotta
we're going to
hurry.
fill it in.
Gotta
Evan
hurry.
and Deuce are in the locker room. It's Alex. Welcome, Alex.
Hello.
And I would say that your appearance on our Picks Day is a sign of bravery, considering last year's performance.
Well, I was wondering when, I don't know who it was, but whoever ordered 4 chairs for the studio, I took that as, oh, okay, they're threatened by my picks performances.
threatened. Yeah.
I think that's
Trying
an
to phase
accurate
me
take.
out.
Okay.
Accurate take.
All right,
Back.
but Alex is here for Picks Day. Paul's here. I'm here. Matt's in the booth, and like I said, Evan and Deuce will be here as soon as they get done with the locker room.
Correct.
So it's Thursday. It's our last show before the Bengals, not including the pregame show, of course. And how are we feeling? Any news that we need to go over personnel-wise on the injury front? Anything like that?
Now, we did have the first injury report
Yep.
came out, and I think we sort of forecasted yesterday that we felt City So would probably be a DNP, and he was. But there were some questionable guys as well that were limited in their participation. Guys like Vidarian Lowe, who I think got back on the practice field. Hunter Henry dealing with a foot. We now know it's a foot injury. I'm not sure that had been reported. So, a couple of things to be concerned about. We'll see, as we move a little bit later in the week, heading to tomorrow, and we'll get the game status.
Yep. Couple other Patriots news of note. There's a kind of a report, I guess, about Christian Barmore that the Patriots are preparing for him not to play this year, that they're going to take it slow.
Did not see that.
Yeah, they're going to take it slow. And it wasn't a definitive report that he will not play, but they're wrapping their heads around the fact that he may not
Can
play
you
this
can you
season.
cite your source?
Yeah.
As you're doing that, I'll add in one
Yeah.
more element of the injury report that made me chuckle yesterday was Jamar Chase for the Bengals.
Practiced.
Limited, not injury related, rest.
Resting
he had
from
the
what?
whole summer off.
Mike's here.
No, but obviously they were sort of not throwing him in 100%, which is kind of what I was talking about. It's just really hard to imagine he's going to be anywhere near 100% to play in the first game after not having done anything.
Right. It'd be a great message for the league if he just stepped right in
Yeah.
on the Wednesday before.
Coaches
week
would be
one.
like,
It's
that's
just-
not what we're looking
looks
for.
great.
Trent Williams is going to dominate. Brandon Ayuk's going to dominate, and Jamar Chase is going to dominate. That's not what coaches around the league are hoping for.
No. You need all of training camp. So yeah, just got back from the locker room. Hello everyone. Hello
Howdy.
Alex. Good to see you here. Good to see the desk.
So, Mike, did you see the report, or not really a report,
There
but
was a
sort
report?
of an allusion to the Patriots are prepared to take it slow with Barmore
Oh.
and not expecting him to play
Oh, I
this
did
year?
not
Yeah,
see
I
that.
think it was a national.
Yeah.
I think it was Pelissero, but I'm
Okay.
I'm efforting that right
I just
now.
saw the one where they were prepared to pay him for his salary,
Yep.
which isn't
Yeah.
entirely I don't know. Is
No.
that surprising? I
No.
don't think it would be.
No. It was
No,
kinda like-
I mean, and also, I'm not trying to be like critical of the opponent that we're playing. Like a team like Cincinnati that has notoriously cheap ownership, Arizona
Yeah.
would be another one. I would put, maybe you'd see, but I think really 32 out of 32 would pay this one.
it's a good way to lose
Honestly.
the player. You're
Yeah.
gonna like nickel and dime him over
I
that,
know,
especially.
right?
But it was good to see him in the locker room. Didn't see him there today, but for those wondering, we asked Jabril Peppers about it. He had one of the Guardian cap covers on yesterday in practice. Oh, Fred, go ahead.
It's Jeremy Fowler,
Okay.
ESPN. Quote, the Patriots are bracing for the possibility that defensive tackle Christian Barmore, who's on reserve / non-injury football injury list while being treated for blood clots, won't play this season. New England doesn't want to rush his recovery by any stretch. If he makes it back, great, but the team won't push it. He's a long-term asset.
I have a question. Is it
It's a very odd report.
is it
Jeremy Fowler.
a recovery though, or is
Yeah.
it something he has to?
He's not coming
deal
back off
with?
of blood clots. He has
Yeah.
to figure out how
Right.
Manage it.
to
Yeah.
manage the blood clots.
And a
Right.
lot of times, just from my experience, I know people who've dealt with like pulmonary embolisms and embolisms.
Yeah.
Embolisms.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
very
a hard
good.
one.
Yeah, it is a hard one.
Like you're sometimes on a blood thinner for life.
Yeah.
You know, so you wonder
Yep.
if it's like a comfort thing with him, or if they're kind of modeling the David Andrews.
Right, and whatever they do to sort of rectify the situation is going to need to take place for, I would imagine, a significant amount of
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
not only to alleviate the blood clots themselves, but to figure out, like to your point, Alex, about blood thinners. NFL players really can't be on blood thinners. That would be very dangerous.
Yeah, and I guess once they get it to where they think it should be, then it's a build-up to strenuous activity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a process, and I get it that it's probably going to take months just to get to the point where you're confident about it. So, not a surprising report at all.
No, I think there's is there a chance that he's never going to play again? I mean, I think that's probably on the table, right?
I hope not.
I hope not too.
Yeah.
But unfortunate.
Yeah,
you find a
I
player.
don't think they usually can figure out a solution. I'm not
Yeah.
I shouldn't say I'm not fearful. I mean, there's always concern, but
Yeah.
I'm not fearful necessarily that he will never play again. But I am not hopeful that he will play this year.
All right, and we interrupted you about.
Oh, no, I was joking. I mean, I was just joking about Peppers though. He had on the big,
Guardian
the
cap
cover
with the
over the
logo.
Guardian Cup with the
Yeah.
logo on it, which, of course, our
So
friend
that's
Alex
what
Barth.
that's what the players are going to wear if they wear them in games.
Yeah, they'll have a
they
covering.
have one with a logo on it.
Yeah, so it looks a little bit big. I mean, it is a little bit like who was the Bills guy that used to wear the Kelso? Who
Mark
was the
Kelso,
Mark
yeah.
Kelso. But he said he was just kind of trying it out and stuff.
great
so I don't know.
Gazoo.
I was just gonna say because
That's
Barth,
who I thought. The Flintstones. Flintstones reference.
Barth went like right over to him, about the helmet because Barth's a big helmet guy. So
God
so he got
almighty.
to the bottom of it. But no, kind of a quiet day in the locker room, I would say. It wasn't. We talked to Jelani Tavai. He was really the only guy who was speaking before I cut out, but. Kind of quiet.
So after Alex and I were just talking about how everybody's in the locker room and everybody's like, well, and then you're like, well,
But it's
really, Jelani
different.
Tavai's like the
They're
only one
like
else.
locked in, ready to go to practice. It's a different vibe than
Yeah.
previous years that I'm used to.
Yeah, it was still a huge contingent though. Huge contingent. I mean, just there's so many media people just clogging the whole center of the locker room, and you got guys coming out of team meetings like, excuse me, kind of trying to get through and stuff. So definitely a different feel. But again, love it that we've gotten that out of the way, and we don't have to sit around till 5:30
Yeah.
to wait and talk.
Yeah,
get
and we
to
got
talk
to hear
Jelani.
Freddie from DeMarcus Covington today,
Yep.
and a handful of the defensive assistants.
Yep.
Including Brian Belichick.
Yeah,
who-
Brian Belichick, Mike Pellegrino, Jerry Montgomery, Dante Hightower, and Drew Wilkins.
Drew Wilkins.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Good
Yeah.
job. Yeah, I went in right to Brian. Was asking him a little about the safety group. Kind of interesting. I thought his answer about Del Pettis because somebody asked him about Del Pettis, and I asked him about Hawkins, and then his response to Pettis was one of those where
He's working hard.
He's got a ways to go. It was like, well, he's just got to keep improving, and I think he's
Special
probably
teams.
a guy that might get scratched, but very complimentary of Hawkins as a as a free agent coming in and being able to understand the system and just kind of ingratiating himself to the room and everything. So he had some high praise for
Yeah,
Jalen
I was
Hawkins.
in on Mike Pellegrino, and one of the topics that I've sort of been concerned about all summer is depth at that spot. He obviously is a little bit higher on the situation as the coach than most of us would be, but he did say, which I thought was interesting, if these guys are active on game day, there's a really good chance that they're going to play.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to see a lot of bodies out there in the secondary on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who else? Drew Wilkins. I got in on him too a little bit, but asked him about tonight's game because he came from Baltimore. He said he was very excited for Zach Orr, who I think he said he coached. I know he was a player, I think there, but taking over as defensive coordinator, and now he gets to deal with Patrick Mahomes and all that.
It's good. I'm looking forward to the game tonight, though.
Sure.
Yeah.
Should be a good matchup. I hope it pans out to be a good matchup. One that keeps my attention for the second half. A lot of times, Grandpa's got to go to bed.
I hear that.
Grandpa,
Yeah.
grandson, anybody.
Yeah.
I had to go back and remind myself of the AFC Championship game. I don't know. I don't have your steel trap memory on those games, but went back.
So that
just to
one?
go back and look a little.
So I didn't see it because that was the day of the football banquet for Fenwick. So I didn't even see that game. So I don't have a steel trap for it.
It was funny. My only takeaway was Kansas City scored 2 touchdowns on their first possession, and then really didn't do much else, and that was enough. But two really good teams and a good way to kick the season off. Saw Philadelphia and Green Bay landed down in Brazil.
That'll be a
So
good
what are
game,
they doing?
too.
Are they sending video back to the States and then someone has to tweet it out from the States?
Oh, okay. So what you're talking about is
Twitter.
X is banned from Brazil. So you can't access Twitter from any IP in that country. So if you want to post to Twitter, you have to post it from the U.S.
Yeah.
But
so I had heard that.
But who's gonna see it if you can't access Twitter? What's the point?
Nobody in Brazil.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But the teams, so that's assume what we would do. The teams would do. Just you got to send us back the videos and
No,
we'll get 'em
I
up
told
and stuff,
people
right?
just go to Instagram.
Mm.
I said put on Twitter, follow us on Instagram for now, and just
Yeah.
put everything on Instagram and Facebook, and don't worry about Twitter right now. I mean, there's no sense
So
in
why is
pissing
that?
off the government. They
it's
find
a whole-
they say that Twitter isn't doing a good enough job regulating itself. They said child exploitation is one of the categories. Also, misinformation. They're not doing a good enough job.
It's funny that they would pick one. To me, you just described social media to me.
Well, I
And
think
it's
I
it's
think
funny that
Twitter's
they pick
getting
one
looped in
thing.
with Telegram, and I don't think Elon's been very complimentary of the Brazilian prime minister.
Now
or
that
president,
makes more
so
sense. It's personal. That makes more
Yeah.
sense.
What's Telegram?
I never heard
Telegram is probably good that you don't know about Telegram.
of that. Nah, I don't need to know
It's
about
not
that,
a great
Alex.
place.
Yeah.
That's the dark web.
It's like a Portuguese thing or something.
No,
It's a Russian
I'm
from the
not
dark web.
claiming that.
No,
as
it's a swamp.
yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that's going on in Brazil right now in terms of Twitter.
Complications there
yeah.
for the teams.
But in my mind, minor. Who cares?
Speaking of social, I saw one other thing that I liked was Devontae Adams clapping back at the social team of the Chargers
Oh.
for, I think they put up I think their actual schedule release, but they did Pop-Tarts or something, and they made Devontae Adams being trash. And he just went off on how much he's torched their team and how terrible their team is, and their stupid social people went after him a little bit. So I like that.
I'm surprised you don't see more of that players going
I know,
after the Chargers
just sit back there
social
lobbing
team.
bombs at everybody, and it's what
Yeah.
a game.
They really do. They
Well, they're
go
the
for
best. Just
everyone.
ask 'em.
And
Do you hear about the? And we're kind of talking about NFL stuff right now.
Yeah.
The VP of content, I guess
Oh.
my counterpart
geez, I
from the
know.
Commanders,
Not good, Bob.
got caught in a little sting operation.
What was
Yeah.
that? Was that a hidden video kind of
Yeah.
thing where he was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
So did you do any research on this, Freddie?
Yeah, I did.
Can that person go to prison? Can that company be
It
prosecuted
depends
at
on the
all?
laws
of the state, right?
DC or wherever
Yeah.
it
I'm
happened.
told it's a two-party.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
recording without consent.
Yeah, it
kinda
could
thing?
be. So the company that did it, it's O'Keefe Media.
Hmm.
I think they should be
Yeah.
shut down first of all,
Well,
but also prosecuted. I think that's
In a former
so
life,
far
they
over the
were.
line.
The founder of O'Keefe, this guy, started this thing called the Veritas Project.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
familiar
And they
with
did
him.
the same thing. It was politically based, and they shut them down.
Yeah.
And now he's resurrected himself as O'Keefe Media, and now they're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's so weird with their history of being mostly politics, and why are you going after the random
they-
Well,
they changed their name and everything.
Maybe
content
Daniel
guy?
Snyder gave him a little money under the table to.
Then now we're
to-
talking.
You
Okay.
never know.
Do
That's
not, do not
a
dismiss
fair
that.
point.
Yeah.
That's something I hadn't considered, but that
Let's
makes
cause a
more
little
sense
trouble.
now. That
Yeah.
makes a lot more sense.
But so the question is okay, so the guy, I think he thought he was on a date.
yeah.
So I
The
feel bad
video's
for him,
so
but at the
funny,
same
though,
time,
that girl's
he's
grilling
trying to
him.
he's trying to act like, I'm Mr. Cool, and she's obviously like feeding him questions, and
It sounded like an interview.
Yeah, it
Like,
did.
how did he not pick up on it?
It
did
sounded
sound
like
like
an
he
it.
should have
interview.
been like,
she was
okay,
probably hot. And
I
he was
don't
just
know if
looking at
I'm
her like,
actually
right.
going to get
not
laid. I
thinking.
feel like she's just trying to pull this
Yeah,
information.
and she probably
out of
waited
me.
until his second drink.
He's not
or
hot.
third
Guys are
drink,
stupid, Alex. They'll
you
fall
know?
for it every time.
Ah, trust me, I know.
So I'm just glad I'm not young and dating.
He is
No.
not hot.
Oh, she wasn't?
Yeah.
No, it's a dude.
Oh, it was a dude. Well,
No,
why couldn't they
So
be
it
dating?
was a
The
date
one that
with
was
two men?
interviewing.
The one,
I'm looking at the wrong thing. Sorry.
Okay.
The one who was interviewing.
I'm looking at the
It's
Twitter
definitely
post
a-
of the video.
Yeah, it was definitely a woman.
No,
Yeah.
poor guy
asking
sitting
the
there at a
questions.
restaurant getting grilled.
yeah,
But
so-
I mean, I know you're responsible for what you say, and I get all that crap. And he said some things that you can't say now because you can't express your opinion on things.
But
And-
he's
and
representing
that-
the company.
That guy should be. That company should be in jail. That woman should be in prison for doing that. I think that is so far over the line.
Yeah.
So unethical.
Yeah.
Like, you're supposed to have some kind of standard, and this is what it's become.
Well,
Journalistic standards
Gotcha.
don't exist anymore.
We just
though.
got you.
Well,
I
that-
got to get
Yeah.
you out
Dunk
of
on
your
people.
job. You're out.
On-
Like, I hate it.
I look on the bottom when the guy that owns the company is introducing the segment. On the bottom, the crawl is sign up to be something.
A rat.
Yeah,
Supporter?
basically
Oh, yeah.
that's what it is. And
Yeah.
so they're recruiting people to do this stuff. You know.
And
So,
this guy got
So
suspended, by
slimy.
the way.
Yeah,
So,
he's-
my guess is he probably will get fired.
probably.
But like you said, if it's a two consent state, can
That's what
they
they were talking about
legally
on the radio
fire him?
today.
Because then I think he could turn around and maybe sue the Commanders.
Oh, well, no, he wouldn't sue the Commanders. He would
Sue
sue
that
this
company.
company.
But if he got fired,
Sue
well,
you.
and then he'd do both.
Everybody.
He'd
Sue
fire.
everyone.
He'd sue them
Bring
for
his
wrongful
shoes.
termination.
Yeah,
if he
that's what
got
I'm
fired.
saying.
That's why they haven't fired him yet.
Right.
They're probably working.
they
through.
got to figure it out. Sit
Yeah.
down with the legal team.
Oh my God!
I miss the headphones.
This world.
I know.
Anyway,
So I could hear
Speaking
you
of
right
social
now.
media,
Sue
did you
everybody.
guys see that hell is frozen over? Bill Belichick's on Instagram.
Brian was asked about that today, and he just kind of said, "I'm glad he's getting out there," and he said he was a little bit surprised too.
Fred,
but,
I want honest opinion.
yeah.
Thoughts on sort of this, the Bill Belichick media tour.
the blitz of Belichick.
I have actually just been informed that the VP of content was fired.
Oh, he
Oh,
has now
that's
been
been
fired.
fired now.
Yeah.
I figured that was coming. I didn't think he would survive that.
You have a direct call. Somebody called you from the Commanders.
Ashok.
Okay.
I'm not overly surprised.
Yeah. What did we just say?
I was asking your thoughts on the Bill Belichick
yeah.
sort of media.
So
blitz.
obviously there's,
Rebranding.
there's probably
Rebranding.
there's probably an influence there that is helping him with all of this.
Sure.
I doubt that he's on his phone, two thumbs, posting this stuff. I was talking to somebody today who was convinced that he will not coach again. That teams know that at 73 or whatever his age is, a tiger doesn't change their stripes. And I said, well, maybe this whole tour is to show people that he is willing to change his stripes and he's worth.
I haven't seen anything yet that shows that. I mean,
well, going on Instagram, you don't think that's willing?
I think you just answered that question. He's
What?
not on Instagram.
No, but
His
he's-
girlfriend's on
but
Instagram.
No, but he's willing to be part of it. He's willing to be party to it.
Yeah, I don't think
to
that's
me,
really
that's a
showing you you're
change.
changed.
No.
No.
Oh,
Like
come
I've caught these clips and stuff that are because we can see Twitter here. I've seen some of these clips. He's the same guy. It's the same drab monotone. Yeah,
It is, and I get that,
It's the
and
same thing.
I agree. I think some of the football stuff he's doing is going to get a little boring after a while because it is the same thing. But being on Instagram is a change. Being willing to say, this is my account. What's on this account?
But did you hear?
Whether
Did you hear it though?
I know, I heard it. Whether or not I actually posted it, I'm willing to say this is me.
Yeah,
I think
just
that's a
don't-
change.
Okay, so we'll call it a change. I just don't
J-Lo.
think it's a change in his coach, like him. It's not really a change in like his beliefs, his coaching, his attitude,
No,
his
but
thoughts
what-
on football.
but-
like that's to me what I would need to see a change with if
Yeah.
I was an owner.
But one
Like,
of the
do you still believe that you have to win 17-13? Do you still believe you need to be in charge of all personnel decisions? Do you still believe your way's the only way? Like,
Right.
oh, you're on Instagram now? Oh, yeah, we'll hire
no,
you.
but that is
Like
you're
that's
right.
what I'm talking about.
No, I 100% agree with you. But the other thing that people said about him true or false. It does, but they say is he's not up with the times. He's not in tune with the modern athlete, the younger athlete, and so that's part of it too. So
yeah, and
now,
what has he done to illustrate that he's in tune with the modern
listen,
athlete?
even I have an Instagram account now.
Hi, everyone.
I'm not.
It's been a while since I had a chance to speak to you.
I think this is part of showing that I'm going to recognize that this is a thing. I can't just ignore it. I'm going to be part of it. So, here I am defending Bill Belichick again.
No.
Well, why shouldn't you defend Bill? What did you say it like that for?
No,
why wouldn't we?
But
why wouldn't
I
you want to
find
do that?
I find myself defending Bill Belichick.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with defending the guy
No.
who won 6 Super Bowls for
No,
the organization. There's never apologize for that.
That
But
has,
you can also criticize him too.
no,
that's
and
allowed.
I think I'm not willing to criticize him in this because I think that this is why he's doing it. Now, do I think that I'm going to get uncomfortable looking at some of these posts? Yeah, I think it's going to get a little awkward.
Can't be any more uncomfortable than that little introduction yesterday.
Yeah.
No.
That was bad.
I've just been disappointed with the content that he's produced because I was
too,
actually
Mike.
looking forward to what I love Friday
Drake
press
May
conferences
breakdown.
when he goes and does a breakdown like that, and you watch the Inside the NFL and he's breaking down like the Super Bowl pre-parties here at the it's like what like he's I don't know. I just it seems like he's trying to be a little bit too fun. I want to see him be Bill and do the film stuff and break it down. And the thought I had with all this stuff is I'm like, maybe could we have just given Bill a sabbatical? Like, could we just give him a sabbatical year? Go out, join Instagram, try some TV, see how the other half lives, open up to the rest
We
of the
should have
league,
had Alex
get out
and
of the
Tamara
ground.
sit down with Bill and say, "Okay, Bill, this is what you need to do. Okay, this is go on this platform,
Social
stay off that
strategy.
black web, the dark web, stay off
No
of that one. We
Telegram.
don't need no Telegram. We don't need any of that. But this is we're gonna rehab your image, right?
But I think someone is trying
just
to
sit
do
there
that
and
with him.
grunt at us.
I'm joking. To me, it's the change needs to be about his coaching philosophies
Yeah.
and whatnot.
No,
Not
fair
that
enough.
he is has a publicity stunt with Pat
Yeah.
McAfee and Instagram.
But that is up to him to convince prospective boss.
Did you guys
that
see the
he's
clip
doing that.
of him talking about the Patriots a little bit with Matty P? That
Yeah,
clip
we
that was
saw
out?
that, and it's
I
the same
did not.
stuff that
Yeah.
he's it looked like a Wednesday.
kinda
It looked like a
awkward.
Wednesday press
Yeah.
conference
Yeah.
talking about the Jets and all the talent that they have. But the one nugget that I pulled out of that is when he was going down their roster talking about the offense. He said, they've got a good quarterback in Rodgers, blah blah, and then they've got a great wide receiver in Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting that he used the adjective good.
I think Aaron
with
Rodgers probably did too. Aaron Rodgers
and
like,
great with the other two guys, right after each other. So
we know that he
it was
thinks Aaron
intentional.
Rodgers is great.
Yeah.
I think he would have left Brady for Aaron Rodgers. He wanted to marry him when he was when
That
he
might
was
have been the
still
move.
coaching.
That might have been the move.
I was
2020.
completely convinced, sort of heading into the offseason, that Bill very, very badly wanted to get back in and coach again. And now I'm not saying that he doesn't, but I'm not as convinced as I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I-
I'm wondering if he's doing all of these things just to figure out
What I
which
like.
one he likes, and he'll pick a lane.
He's
and-
really putting himself out there. He's got more
got an
going
empire.
on.
He's
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 got
like
a
a guy
lot
after a
going
breakup,
on.
like
Well,
he's got a new girl. He's
he
really
is.
he dyed his eyebrows. He's looking
Yeah.
great.
What do
He's
you
back
say?
in the gym.
He's living his best life.
Yeah.
YOLO.
He's being his best self.
What? It was like the J-Lo. This is me now. Remember the
Don't-
dunkings?
don't talk bad
Sorry,
about
am I
J-Lo.
sorry?
Your girl has gone through it lately.
She's got some issues.
Your girl's going through it.
That's why it never worked out for us. She was too unstable.
Two crazy kids.
She's too neurotic for you.
Yeah.
But I do worry though. Is Bill going to be kind of hanging over our head all year? And what are the Patriot breakdowns going to be like? And what are the subtle jabs? And it's just.
I think
I
we're
mean-
going to start off like that, Mike. I don't think
Yeah.
it's going to be like that.
And he'll
'cause
have
I don't think
nothing to
there's-
say.
I don't think there's any there.
Yeah.
And I think
not
after
much
like
to
2 or
do.
3 weeks, people are going to be like, "Oh, that's it."
Yeah.
They're going to move on to something else to
Yeah.
make fun of.
I do hope though that we get to see the Bill that I enjoyed the most, which, like I said, was that Friday press conference. Bill, where he'll give you football history. He'll go on a deep dive on a player or something like those are the things that I find fascinating. Not him trying to fit in with inside the NFL where they're all cool and they're hanging out and they're making jokes and stuff. And it's like he just wants to talk football.
You know
like,
what
he
I
doesn't
want?
to do this stuff.
I want to know what he really thinks.
Yeah.
I want to know what he really thinks. And
Yeah.
none
You're
of these
never
things
gonna
are
get
showing
that.
what he really thinks.
You're never going to get that. Yeah.
When
read between
he's
the lines.
when he's talking like on Friday, like Mike sort of likes the references in what he's talking about. I like it because that's what he really thinks about, like, Mark Bavaro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You
right.
know, like,
That's the
this
what I'll
is-
give you.
You know, this is the guy. Like, you guys think this tight end. Wait till I tell you about Mark Bavaro. You know,
Yeah.
like, that's what he really thinks.
Yeah.
In LT, in all of those Giants guys. I don't think we're going to get that.
That's why he was
Like,
so good
what
on
did
that.
you really think
Yeah.
about Drake May?
Yeah, that's why he was so good on that NFL Top 100, because it was historical players that he could just open up about and, you know, go on and on about what made these guys. You know, you're seeing like this black and white 16 millimeter film go by, and you know him showing what made him so special, just his
Right.
you know encyclopedic knowledge of the NFL and NFL history.
Well, we're going to be hearing about what he says about the Patriots all season, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
So getting back to the Patriots in this game coming up against the Bengals, a lot of people say if you're going to play the Bengals, this is the week to do it, week one, because they're historically slow starters with Joe Burrow, and you know that's true. But the Patriots have been slow starters recently as well.
Fair enough.
You know, it's a battle of slow starters, I guess.
Yeah, I don't put too much stock in that. I mean, I just think every year is a new year. And,
Yeah,
and I mean,
you're
Paul
right.
has pointed out, you know, the different ailments that, I mean, he is on the injury report too, so I don't know if he's quite 100%, but I'm fully expecting to get his best. And, you know, looking
Oh yeah.
back at those games from 2022, I'd like to get into it with Evan today about that, because I've been going on that game, and I think he still has a little bit more of a positive impression of that Patriots loss to the Bengals than I do. But I mean, he barely
was
he
a
completed
massacre.
like 80% of his
That
passes.
game was a massacre.
You know,
that
and-
was only because of the stuff that you're hoping for Sunday.
Yeah.
The game stayed close. You're hoping for what Fred's talking about. Like, they're not ready at the start of the season. They're sloppy with the ball, and they turn it over 3 times and miss a field goal or an extra point or two, and they keep you in the game. That's what you're hoping for. That's what the Bengals did
I
that
mean,
day.
they-
Even
they-
Pellegrino talked
Yeah.
about it today.
They had almost 300 yards passing in the first half, and then they kind of took their foot off the gas. But then it was, you know, a couple of specific plays where, I mean, Mac Jones throws like a 49-yard pass that like bounces off someone and into Jacoby Myers'
That's
hands
how they.
for a
That's
touchdown.
how they got back in the game.
You know, like
and that, by the way, was like a 4th and 26.
Yeah.
It was a 4th and 20 something,
just threw it out.
and he just threw it up. It was a Hail Mary. It went off of that other guy, Scotty Washington. Maybe
That's probably what it is, Paul. Steel
That-
trap.
You
There you
look
go.
that
You're
up.
back,
If
baby.
that's right, that's a pluck right there. It went
Scotty
off of like
Washington.
some guy that came up off the practice squad.
Right.
Myers catches it for a touchdown, and suddenly, like, the Bengals are like, "How did we get in this close game?
Yeah.
How do we get here?"
How was this?
And
even-
all of a
then
sudden, you know,
Stevenson-
momentum
They
turned.
put one drive together at the
They
end
put
of the
one
fourth
drive.
quarter,
They went down, and then
they
they
fumbled it.
Yeah. So
Such is life. with the Patriots.
listen. You know, we'll get to our picks in the last segment of our show, but I'm looking forward to, for whatever reason, a competitive game.
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, it's. I think, as we said yesterday, just don't beat yourself. Like, give yourself a chance. I mean, and that's just the baseline. Because if you go in there and you turn the ball over, you know, 3-4 times, and you've got a bunch of false starts that are putting you in 3rd and long, and you know, you can't get out of your own way. And I feel like that's how I felt about the Patriots of the last 2 seasons. It's just they couldn't get out of their own way. I don't even know how good they really were, because a lot of it, they just never really gave themselves a chance to be competitive in those games. And I mean, even going back to that game, as we just ran right through, it was like, hey, you got a chance to win, and that's like an old school Patriots style of winning. You pull out a game that you probably shouldn't have won, and then they fumbled it. I mean, how many times you see that against Miami, in 2021, like same kind of thing? Like that's been who this Patriots team is. I just like to get away from that mistake-laden team that can't get out of their own way.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pellegrino talked about that game against Cincinnati today, and he said specifically, he goes like, yeah, we went back and watched that. They hit us in the, like, right out of the gate.
Oh, right down the
We
field.
couldn't stop
It's like
them.
6 plays right down the field.
You know, obviously their game plan was very successful against us. Early on, we couldn't do anything to stop them. Like, that's how the Patriots defensive coach
Right.
described the
Yeah.
game. So I think time will tell us, Mike, that
Yeah.
you and I had a better sort of
Well,
look
and I
at
mean,
that.
and I think Taylor Kyles did lay out the whole question, but it is interesting how they approached that game. It was a very un-Patriots kind of approach, not really blitzing, playing zone, playing 2 deep safeties. I mean, that's not really what their personality of the defense is. So, I mean, I think it was a good question from Taylor to DeMarcus Covington. How do they change it? Do they do they just say, we got to get after this guy? Because if we sit back and he's just going to pick us apart.
And they allow Gonzalez to match up with somebody, to
Yeah.
play a lot more man coverage.
And they had crappy corners back that year, too.
I do
mean, it
think,
was,
like, we haven't seen DeMarcus Covington as a defensive coordinator yet, but he still learned under Bill.
Yeah.
And I got to imagine that still some of the cannons that they had in the past, he'll still have, which is don't get beat deep. So they'll be conservative that way.
Yeah. Drew Wilkins was real complimentary of Covington. Just asked him a little bit about him in the coaches meeting. He said he had an incredible recall of plays and, has been around a while and has seen a lot and, could remember things from previous seasons, kind of like we talk about sometimes with, Brady and Josh, just the experience he has. He talked about, too, this was a DeMarcus thing, but talking about calling plays in his backyard, watching a game, calling plays, practicing. So he's an intense guy. He's got that defense vibe about him.
I liked his answer about, the job itself and, instead of oh my God, he used another word, here I am. No, I'm ready for this. Yeah. I've been preparing for this. I've been thinking about this day for a long time.
And calling plays in his backyard.
Yeah.
Right.
So I like that. Who knows if that really means anything, but I love the attitude of confidence going in.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to be overwhelmed. So I'm prepared.
It's interesting. Mike and I talked a little bit after Covington's press conference, and I kind of said some of the same things. I didn't take him the way you did, but he came across as, I thought, a little bit overly confident. And I just said to Mike, we might have to tone him down a little bit because I was there and I didn't necessarily think it was anything out of the ordinary. I was, contextually, I don't necessarily think he was throwing any bombs, but if you just looked at what he was saying, if you read the transcript and didn't hear tone, he was asked about, how do you deal with Higgins and Chase? Well, they have to deal with us too.
Yeah.
Again, I heard it and I didn't take it as anything over the top, but I just wonder if that's the kind of stuff that Belichick, maybe going back to Bill, would bristle at.
He would bristle, but maybe he's setting a tone for his defense. This is the attitude I want my defense to have. It's going to start with me and it's going to trickle down to them.
We're going to play really good team defense, and that's how we win. That's how we're going to win, he said.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think he meant,
beat the Bengals.
I'm guaranteeing we're winning on Sunday.
Right.
I just meant
win our battle.
When we win, this is how we're going to win. We're going to play good team defense.
Yeah.
I think that's what he meant. I'm just talking about how it actually came across.
Yeah. So Bill would never do anything that could be used against him after the game. Oh, you thought you were going to win, huh? He never wanted to be painted into that corner.
That's such a learning curve for those guys. I feel like everyone is just Gerard too. They are picking apart his transcripts and reading so much into everything, and it's such a challenge to be. Your guys on your shows.
Me too.
It's just so difficult to be in the moment and just take into account that media training and just really not now I really understand why Bill was the way he was, and just seeing Gerard have to deal with getting everything he says dissected. I'm okay, now I get it.
I think there's a happy medium though. There's Bill.
Sure.
Bill was confrontational with his lack of response.
If you want to blame Mike and Tony were a lot worse on Bill's press conferences than they have been on Mayo's.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think there's a way that Mayo will find his stride and be able to do it with a smile and do it. He's a guy that is easy to kind of and he just has to say less. I think that's kind of with everybody.
Stay on point.
I think I just was listening to Jonathan Jones, who I think is a master of 2-sentence replies. He gets right through everything.
I wish everybody was like that.
It was, it's so easy to go through his talking and pull out the quotes and stuff because he just is so direct and easy. He answers the question, he gets out. I think that's what some of the coaches need.
Well,
to
when
learn.
they prep people to go on the stand in a courtroom, they say, don't answer what's not being asked.
Oh yeah.
Just answer the question that's being asked, and don't editorialize. Don't add to it. Don't give your opinion. Just answer what's being asked.
Yeah, and don't. Don't I think we talked about with with Mayo. You're all gonna want to know about the QB. Don't put yourself into a corner right away with that kind of stuff. I think he'll get better. I mean, I assume that this is how a lot of NFL coaches are when they first get in. You're excited, you're kind of jittery, you got questions coming at all angles, and you got guys like Dan Roach with a big smile on his face. You want to kind of be a people pleaser. You want to give stuff out, and it's hard to hold back or to be measured. And I'm sure that Gerard Mayo press conferences come January will be a lot different than they've been.
Well, was Bill always that way with you guys?
Pretty much. Yeah, I mean, he was better when he first got here, but
sometimes
not
I
much.
wonder if Spygate kind of just
oh no
changed him or not.
It was was different before Spygate. But you know, there were some things that we went back and listened to as we were putting together some of the Brady stuff.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, he actually said that.
That's
you know?
That's kind of why I
But
bring that
not
up,
much,
just from
not
watching
much.
like different documentaries and the way the dynasty kind of laid out the whole Spygate situation. I was like, did he just feel so burned by like people?
I think a
that
lot of it was Cleveland. Like I think
Cleveland.
that was
Yeah. I
the
think
Cleveland
experience, you know,
changed him.
which I can't really speak
Well,
to what that media is like, but
He
that
was pretty
experience-
bad at Cleveland. That's why, well, you know, toward the end there, he was really gruff with the media. You know, because
Yeah, well, they hate.
things
I mean,
were
they all
falling
over
apart.
him, right?
Yeah, and he
Blaming
really
him.
got criticized toward the end there, and
Yeah.
he got a little better here. But I think once he won that Super Bowl and had that cred
Yeah.
and was secure in
Clamped
his
it
job,
down.
I think that he
Well, it takes
he
so much
said and did whatever
confidence
he
to
wanted. Yeah.
talk like he would and
Oh,
be
yeah.
that just stern.
I
and
always
stare,
say,
we'll
Alex,
see.
there was nobody.
Yeah.
There was nobody that was more comfortable in dead silence
Yeah.
than Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Literally, no one more comfortable in an uncomfortable
He
situation.
he would answer a question. You would ask a question. He'd answer it, and then he'd stop, and you'd be like, thinking,
stare through your
well,
soul.
and he'd stare through your soul, and he was perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
I aspire
And
to
if
be
you didn't
that
have
way.
anything ready to go, okay.
Yeah. Well,
You
it's
know,
just-
like it's the opposite. And I think Alex's point about like with Gerard, it's not only that he's sort of been a little bit too forthcoming, and I'm not talking about giving away secrets. I just mean like Fred said, answering questions that weren't asked. But it's in contrast to Bill, who barely answered the questions that were asked.
Or answered a question.
He
like,
answered
what-
something
yeah.
tthat's different.
Right.
No, that's not Bill. That's not what I said.
That's
That's not what I
yeah.
asked.
That was his way of getting around answering it.
I
yeah.
assume part of the gig too is anticipating questions, and he's being briefed
Yeah.
on like what's going to come, and I think maybe that's why he jumps the gun a little bit on
Right.
you know knowing those things. But it's Bill's ability to be, we'll see,
Yeah.
and then just stare at you. You know, I mean that, and sometimes that is what it is. You know, you can do it with a smile, but
you know, like
he'll
you know,
find his own style.
Bill had an uncanny knack of just saying, I don't mind being uncomfortable because you're going to be more uncomfortable than I am.
Right. And Parcells was the same way. You know, he would not give you anything, and he'd be gruff with the media, but he did it in a more not charming way, but entertaining way.
Charming is probably the
Who
right
was
way.
that?
Parcells.
Parcells.
What was Pete like? Because I mean,
Oh,
we all know
Pete-
what Pete is like. But was he? But did
Just
he get
like
it-
he is now.
Did he get himself in trouble
Yep.
though?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Saying too much
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
wanting to be a people pleaser. Yeah.
Late in the evening.
It's like 3-0 in the NFL. Can't get any better than that.
Right.
Like James Brown said,
He's singing,
get
and
laid
the next
in
thing
the
you know,
evening.
they're back to 500, you know?
Like these things happened 25 years ago. Fred and I can recall
Yeah.
them like this.
Oh, 855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket Hotline. Web radio at patriots.com is the email address. Let's get to some of these emails. Ray in Pennsylvania says, I like today's studio setup. It definitely brings back the radio studio vibes of the old studio. It goes perfectly for picks and lunch for Paul.
Thank you.
On to the
Thanks for
game.
noticing.
On to the game. I'm predicting a season opener upset. McPherson misses a crucial kick late, allowing the Patriots to sneak into field goal range for a Joey Sly game winner. Patriots win 19-17. And P.S. Will someone please get Mike a jingle already?
Yeah.
The poor guy couldn't possibly drop any more requests and hints.
That really is embarrassing.
sure.
Didn't you have one?
It's a good call.
Well, I have
all
like a
around. Good
theme
email.
song, but I need a jingle too. You know,
But
you
we need one. See, we have one. Mike is back from practice, but we need one. Mike
Updated
is
one.
back from the locker
I think
room.
there's a lot of gold to mine there in the locker room because I think it's different than practice. There's
Mike,
a lot of
Let's just
people in
talk
there.
to Peppers.
A lot of people,
Mike.
a lot of people in towels. It's just a lot of awkwardness going on. I was talking to Giardi. We were eyeing the rack of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and Giardi wanted to get one of those.
Oh.
They
one
were
of those
talking about them
PB&J.
yesterday too.
They're just sitting there. And
These men in food, like
Free-
you're
PB,
in a,
free
PB and
food.
J.
It's
I mean,
free
come
food.
on.
there's Chick-fil-A after practice waiting for you. Like, chill
they-
out. You
Oh, I
want
didn't
peanut
get that
butter and jelly?
yesterday.
See food, eat food.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're big guys. I still can't wrap my head around someone weighing like 340 pounds, like a
know.
good like 200 pounds. More, not 200 pounds, but good 160, 180 pounds more. How do you even move like 340
I
pounds?
don't know why you have to be
That's
so hurtful. Like
crazy.
I'm sitting right here.
They're big guys.
340.
Tony writes in, I haven't seen much information about Barmore's condition. I think it'd be interesting if you could have a medical professional on to discuss blood clots, what causes them, what's the treatment. Now that they would know the specific, not that they would know the specifics about Barmore, but in general. Right now, fans have no idea if this could be career-ending or if it can be brought under control.
Maybe I could interview my
could be.
my in-town friend who had a lot to text me after it first happened. He's been around the NFL a lot. Maybe I'll see if talk to him a little bit.
Yeah,
Just to
the
see.
Yeah,
reason
again,
why-
we don't know the
In
specific.
general
yeah.
terms, the reason why you don't do that is because
You don't know.
You don't want to speculate.
well, you don't know the individual case.
Right. Right.
Like David Andrews went through this, and he missed a whole season. He came back, and he's been none the worse for wear. They figured out, a plan of attack. They dealt with the blood clots, and he's been able to play ever since. Some guys, it might not be the same way. It's a different situation.
I find it hard to write about just from because he had blood clots. Like, how do you describe it? Like,
Well,
just like
every
actually
day,
saying
every
the
day in
thing,
blood
like-
observations, it was
Yeah.
Christian Barmore (parentheses blood clots).
I know. I'm like, is there like a?
It's not the same as
like-
ankle,
it's
Paul.
like- I know. Is there like a name for this? Like, I need. Like, I just can't. He's got blood clots. What are you gonna do? I mean, I don't know.
Sweet Kid writes in.
Melvin,
He says, I'm more concerned with Higgins in this particular game than Chase. Do you think this matchup is particularly favorable for Gonzalez with his size? Patriots 13, Bengals 24.
You got us there.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I kind of see it similarly, but it'd be pretty cool if they were able to just pull an upset off, just to.
Well, it looks like Chase will probably play, right?
yeah,
now.
but I understand what
Third
Melvin's
downs.
asking. Like, I would figure Higgins would be the guy that's more ready to go.
Yeah, for sure.
So do you put Gonzalez on him, match the size, or do you need Gonzalez, with Chase and then give him help? I don't know the answer to
Do
that.
you think maybe chase third downs? Like, it seems like just
Pick
put
your
him out there
spots
when
with
you
him.
need him. You don't need him every first and second down. Get some of the young receivers that you have out there. Let them get some experience on the outside.
So
and
one thing I was
slowly
sort of talking about too, Mike, is your thing from the preseason games when we do like the post game shows. One of the things Mike has sort of been, summer football. Who knows if it translates, but the run, stopping the run.
Yeah.
And the Bengals couldn't run the ball at all last year. They felt like Mixon, as good as he is, was a little, kind of aging and slowing down. And they feel like they have a little bit more explosiveness with Chase Brown especially, but even with Zach Moss. Mike's point was like they had trouble at times in the preseason game stopping the run. Now, I felt like when the quote-unquote starters were out there, they shut it down. They had a number of short yardage stops
Yeah.
in one of those games.
I mean,
with when Godchaw and those guys were out there.
I mean,
I don't know.
You lost Lawrence Guy, you lost Christian Barmore. Who do you really have to replace them? I mean, there's Jeremiah Farms is nice, and that's a good story and stuff. But
Daniel
after
Laquale.
Godchaw and Aquale, who are your real NFL defensive tackles? I mean, they brought I'm blanking on the kid's name they just brought in, who I assume is gonna have to play because they don't. There's nobody else
That
really.
Eric
other than
Johnson,
Eric
maybe?
Thank you. Yeah, you're on a hot streak tonight. You're
I'm
on a bender.
fire.
But I think it's a huge concern. And my point was just that if you can't stop the run with those guys, then it's
And you
it's
have to
gonna be a
stop the
long day.
run without like anybody else.
Yeah.
Like you need six,
You
to control the run.
probably feel-
Bentley and Tavai, obviously.
That's what I was gonna say. Like those guys are tough. They'll be tough inside, but
But you
you
don't
know-
want to have to be bringing Peppers and Duggar down to like deal with Zach Moss. Like you shouldn't have to do that.
no, it's a big concern. It is.
Asking thy shall receive. Dan is a physician
Oh,
in
Don.
Greenville, South Carolina. He said, wants to add some context. The treatment duration on blood thinners for pulmonary embolism is usually 3 to 6 months. Long term, in other words, lifelong use of blood thinners is based on whether or not the blood clot is provoked or unprovoked. Provoked means some inciting event for the blood clot, which is a defined event such as surgery or long travel. In this case, the individual does not need to be on blood thinners lifelong. However, if it is unprovoked, it is not an identifiable event. In that case, the worry or concern is that there is a medical condition such as a blood clotting disorder that predisposes someone to develop a clot, in which case lifelong blood thinners is indicated. I'm certain he is getting evaluated by a hematologist to determine if this is the case. Lifelong blood thinners is not compatible with playing football. The risk of serious life-threatening bleeding in the brain while on thinners is too high. So,
And that's
All
why
right.
we don't.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes, we
that
don't-
was a very thorough breakdown from someone who obviously has some knowledge of this. That's why we don't do that,
Yeah.
because there was,
You don't.
you know, if this or that.
Right.
If this, and I don't even know that we know it was pulmonary.
That's you took the words out of my mouth because we know David Andrews was correct,
I
but
believe so.
Christian we've never had. I mean, it was just blood clots. It wasn't a leg. It
Here
wasn't.
we are again. Blood clots. He's got blood clots.
Blood clots. Parentheses. blood clots.
Blood clots.
No,
Parentheses.
and we just don't have the information
Yeah.
yet. You know, maybe we will. You know, we'll see. We'll see as the season unfolds if we get any updates on Christian. And you know, it's hard to put a course of action together when you just and that guy, like I said, he gave a very thorough breakdown.
Yeah.
Of I don't know what it is.
And the travel's a big one you got to think about. These guys do so much travel. Like,
know.
hopefully they get them some of those compression socks and.
And playing at
Get 'em set
altitude
up.
and whatnot,
Yeah,
like I think
yeah.
was an issue for Andrews.
Yep, that's why
I've
he
read
didn't play
about
in
like
Denver.
different waves of COVID potentially being linked to blood
To blood
clots
clots.
too, and there was a wave of COVID going around. There's
Yeah.
just so many things that can play into it.
Josh in Manhattan writes in. We haven't really talked about Drake May. He says the primary argument for Drake May to start at some point this year is generally that the best way to develop quarterbacks is by giving them real live football reps, which I totally agree with. Another reason, in my opinion, that Drake May should start at some point this year is because he gives us the best chance of attracting high-end talent. Ayuk turned down, per Breer, $80 million in guaranteed money ostensibly because he didn't want to play for a team that's easy to defend, to use Fred's parlance. The only way I see the paradigm shifting is if we showcase our shiny new toy at some point this season. Otherwise, we'll be in the exact same boat next free agency.
Yeah, I'd say I think generally agree with that. But I also think that like, what if they're kind of tough? Like, what if they kind of scrappy team and you look like you're not like maybe Jacoby Brissett isn't like the piece of it, but you're seeing guys make plays and you're seeing some progress on the offensive line, and you feel like there's something here. It's not complete yet, but we have an early structure in place that is going to be able to be put Drake May into, and he's going to be able to elevate that even further.
Yep.
I totally agree with that. I think that a lot of the points the emailer made are valid. If you want not only to develop your quarterback, but to get that sort of path established, you need to show people we don't have questions at quarterback. This is our guy. We're very happy with him. He's developing nicely. See, he's out here playing and he's having some success.
It's kind of funny. I saw a thing on Twitter today that kind of ranked the teams. Oh, thanks, Matt. Based on it was like fan confidence in the team and like projected win total, and it was like this chart. And the Patriots were down near the bottom where they have a low projected win total, and the fans don't really seem to have a ton of confidence. But there were also a lot of teams that don't have a high win per total, but have like fans that believe, And it's funny how that can happen. Like that's kind of where you want to
Our
be.
fans are spoiled brats.
No, I know our fans are all like, we're terrible, we're never going to be good again. But there are fans of other teams that do see like, hey, we're not going to be great this year, but I feel good about the direction we're heading, and that's I think the heart of the matter for me.
That's what you want to be. It's easy to talk about. It's also easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the New England Patriots. And something to do before this week's kickoff. Are you looking for something to do
No,
before
just
I
this week's
am.
kickoff?
I
All right.
think I am.
You're all good in your
I'll tell you
gardening?
what. Here's a good thing to do. Why not get your living room game day ready
Yes,
by
that's
playing
what I
the
need to
Bob's
do.
Discount Furniture Dare to Compare Challenge? When you dare to compare Bob's Renegade motion sofa with the competition, you get customizable modular design, Bobopedic power reclining seats, charging ports, and plenty of storage for hundreds less than other brands. Now that's a winning play. So stop in, see how much you can save when you dare to compare with Bob's Discount Furniture, the official furniture store of the New England Patriots. So, Paul's Foods here. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll get to more of your calls and emails. We got to hurry. Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
Somebody start. How was practice today? How did everything go? Good first day. The intensity of the first game of the season is definitely there. The attention to detail was there, so it was a good day. Just got to keep stacking them now.
Has it set in that you're the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots going into Week 1 yet?
Oh, for sure.
Jacoby, what specific challenges do the Bengals defense present for you in the offense?
Yeah, I think Lou does a really good job with those guys. A lot of the same guys have been in his defense for a while now. So they understand the scheme. They understand, their problems that teams are trying to attack. And, I think over the years they've done a good job of correcting a lot of those, dating back to when he first got there to now. They obviously got a lot of talented guys. We definitely got to be on our P's and Q's this week.
Yeah, you obviously played them in 2022 with the Browns. How much do you go back to that game and look at the tape from that one?
Yeah, more so for I guess the defense more than anything. Not to watch myself really, but understanding a lot of the things that we tried to attack then and how then I watched the game later in the year from when we played them the second time. When Deshaun was playing and how they corrected a lot of those things and that kind of like chess match and then even last year kind of seeing some of the same things because a lot of the stuff kind of carries over year to year and then they obviously figure out a lot of the stuff that we're trying to do. So I think I've watched dating back to the year I was there, I watched those two games and then last year's two game a couple times now just to kind of get in the mindset of like how this offense / hybrid offense kind of attacks Lou, and Lou kind of attacks this offense,
Jacoby, getting ready for your first game here this year, and then thinking back maybe to your first game your rookie year, September of that year. How are things similar in how you get ready, and how is it different in the feeling of it?
I think my knowledge of football has definitely grown. Fortunately, I have a week now rather than 2 days to get ready for a game, so that's good. And obviously just the excitement that I had when I was 22 years old, 23 years old, I still feel that same way right now. I'm excited for this week ahead, excited for our team, to go on the road the first week and kind of, make our imprint this year and, what this 2024 season is going to be.
Jacoby, Gerard talked a little bit this morning about your ability to protect the ball. What do you think it is about your game that allows you to protect the ball so well?
I think it just comes with, learning and growing as a player, and kind of, you got to kind of like put your ego to the side. It's like, oh, you can't make every throw, every play. Some of those plays call for you to check the ball down. Some of those plays call for you to throw the ball away and not force things. And, and obviously learning that throughout my years of playing, I think that plays a part in it. I've had fortunate enough to have a lot of good players to knock a lot of bad decisions down for me. So I think that played a part in it too. But I think it's a culmination of a lot of different things.
Do you do that now with the young quarterback from the roster as well? Knock down some bad decisions.
Do I knock the ball down for them?
No. Do you? I guess I thought you meant like older players.
No, I'm saying like I throw a stupid pass and somebody breaks it up for me. Like it's not an interception anymore. So I think that definitely helped me out a couple times in my career.
What, if anything, surprised you about the challenges that you faced over the course of training camp and in the preseason?
What? Say that again, sorry?
Did anything surprise you at all? When you challenges and maybe thinking things back up here or whatever?
Nothing really surprises me anymore in this league. I think it more is just like you arise at a situation, it's like, oh, like I've been through that before. And I think I've in this training camp I've had a lot of those moments. Where it's kind of, you got to find those experiences and lean back on them and say like, hey, what did I do here? What could I have done better here? And just, when I think I've had a lot more of those than rather than like, oh, I never had that happen before.
Jacoby, Gerard talked to us about the Bengals and their
defense plays more aggressive because they feel like they have the high-powered offense that can have their back. How much do you play off of the other side of the ball, knowing what your defense can do, and how does that affect your guys' play style?
Yeah, I think that I guess that playing complementary football is really big this week. And valuing the possessions that we have, and sustaining drives, being good on first and second down to make third downs manageable. I mean, all those cliche things that you hear is more. Help me with this word. Imperative, is that the right word, or is imperative? Right. All right. Imperative that we do that this week, especially going on the road, the first game of the season in a hostile environment. Getting off to a fast start. I think that'll help us. Start complementary football, where it's offense, defense, special teams. And then we're just feeding off and playing off each other.
How confident are you in the running backs here, and what have you just liked about the way they've played up to this point? Yeah, I think we got a good group of guys in that room. Guys that we definitely got to get involved in this game plan. I think the good thing is they all can do so many different things for us, whether it's catching, running, blocking. So, we're definitely going to lean heavily on them this week, especially going on the road in a hostile environment. You kind of want to, set your pads and kind of, set the tone as far as what our team's going to be about. Starts with them.
We talked to a good amount of defensive players today about just how they've seen Gerard change, evolve since becoming the head coach. From an offensive perspective, how have you seen him grow since taking on that head coach role in just the last couple weeks leading up to week 1?
Yeah, so, fortunately for them, they know him as a defensive coach. I only know him as the head coach. So, but I would say from spring to now, you've definitely seen, I guess, by him playing, he understands the ramp up from OTAs to training camp to first game of the season. I definitely seen that, intensity and focus from him as the leader of this team, kind of ramping up as we get to this point. And we had a really good team meeting today and you can kind of feel his energy as far as I would say hey, this is the first game of the season. This isn't preseason games or OTAs or practice. We can't he didn't dip his toe in the team meeting today. He kind of really got after it. So I thought it was good.
What does it mean to you to be elected captain of this team, coming back after all these years?
Yeah, it was definitely a surprise for sure, but definitely something that I don't take for granted. Not only being a captain of this team and knowing all the guys that I looked up through this organization and have I played with a lot of them, but also the history of this team. But when you get voted by your peers, it's something special rather than being appointed based on position, and it's something I definitely don't take for granted.
What's your overall level of confidence in the offensive line?
Oh, I'm excited for him. And I know that's the big question about us is what's the offensive line situation, and I think. That's the cool part about this league and this game is, everybody can have all these questions. You still got to go line up and do it. And I think those guys understand that. They understand that task. I feel very confident that with this plan and how we're going to attack, the defense, but also help us and protect the quarterback and the running back and obviously pushing the ball down the field and things like that. I feel very confident that those guys are locking in on the plan. Ironing out the details. And I'm excited for them to really make their impact on this team because it starts with them, and I know what they're capable of, and I'm just excited for them to show, I guess, all of these questions about them.
When someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
Oh no.
replacements were shipped with FedEx, and with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next, for residential delivery only.
And now, great moments in history.
Eric and Paul show a feeling for the league. Jacksonville wins this game. They do, in fact, get that.
I took the Houston points.
What about the cover?
I took the Houston
3.5.
points.
Jacksonville by 3.5.
Yeah.
You took Jacksonville, so you want the point. You lay in the points.
If we can believe this,
They're gonna win by more.
he's winning on both sides.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's winning.
They're gonna win.
Now you don't want to know why I have that face.
Some of these are not intentional.
Yeah. This is your lock of the week. Upset lock of the week. Pittsburgh over the Titans. What was the spread?
2. 2. Huge upset.
2. They're going to win by more.
Big upset. the New England money's not coming in. So that worries me. That worries me in this game. What do they know? What do they know? But I'm going to say nothing. They know nothing.
I thought you were going to say nothing.
Yeah. And
he's done that plenty.
Yeah. Patriots prevail.
Shocker.
28-19. Patriots.
My favorite part of the Fredisms when he gives picks on games that there's some thought to, like that one, right? He's tortured for a minute.
And
really could go either way.
Right, and then
still
Patriots
finds a way
win.
for a 2-score win.
Right, yeah.
That's another great moment from
All right, you have that to look forward to
That
at the
was
end
a
of the
great
show.
rejoin, Matt.
Picks.
Absolutely.
Picks. Always fun.
Yeah.
Gotta hurry.
Well, for some of us more than others.
For
Right.
Alex and I, it's quite enjoyable. Alex won the overall.
Right.
You know,
We
as
don't need
usual,
to recap,
As
Paul.
usual, I
There's,
won the
that-
spread.
Oh, he
I have
remembers.
the
Last
numbers.
year's gone. It's
I have the
gone.
numbers in my trusty
2024.
folder.
Yeah.
Live in the now.
Good. All right.
We're on to Cincinnati.
What's that?
I said we're on to
Literally.
Cincinnati.
All right, 855-PATS-500 is the Ace Ticket Hotline. It's good to see Paul having eaten again, ready to go, second half of the
Well,
show.
It's nice to have something to
And
actually
Paul
eat it
stops
on.
when he's full now.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. I mean, some people, are a little worried about you, Paul.
Why are they
Why?
worried about
Not
me?
his
Why are they
doctor.
worried? He's doing great.
Because you're losing weight, but you're also losing your fastball.
Where was this losing weight thing? Like, not for that.
What you're losing weight?
Fastball.
Um,
Why? Because I
well,
don't argue with any. You can't argue on a comfy chair.
Morgan in Vermont. Morgan in Vermont writes in, I appreciate the addition of Matt to the pre and post game show. However, I have a bone to pick with Paul and Deuce.
Yeah, I'm
You
sorry.
guys need to bring it more.
Oh.
Things are getting a little too chummy on those shows. Paul has clearly lost his edge. Deuce probably never had one.
That's probably
We
fair.
as fans are having to sit through a lot of losses in this new era, and I want to tune into some good old-fashioned Rivers Have Tide level arguments, not a bunch of boomers giggling like schoolgirls.
I am not a boomer. God damn it.
Nor am I.
Do people just say they just say it now for anybody who's like beyond 40? Like, I'm Gen X. Come on, people. Gen X.
Well, I
like,
think
we're the forgotten
I know,
generation.
That's true. Boomer is a certain category, but I
Baby
think
boomer.
it's also
World War
used
II.
for people that are older and have older
Yeah.
views.
I'm hip.
That's why I
It's
don't
like a
ever.
general term now, like a Karen.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't be Karens on the show, you guys.
All right, well,
Yeah.
You have a little Karen in you.
Karen.
You gotta watch it. She's so offended.
What?
That's like one of the worst things you can be called.
Oh, it
Boring
is.
and a Karen.
I know. And if your name is Karen, it's tough.
Yeah,
it's like you never know your name is
tough.
all of a sudden.
Karens
gonna
are
come.
always
I'd
so
rather,
nice.
I'd rather
I
be
feel
called
like.
Karen than boring.
Karen
Boring.
Garigian is not a Karen.
No.
No, I don't know a single Karen that is a Karen.
It's an
Most
interesting,
Karens I know are lovely
interesting
women.
case study. I
Oh,
wonder
yeah.
if it's like my
Karens.
Gina.
Yeah.
It's that name's gonna go by the wayside now because there ain't no millennials
yeah,
naming
there
their
will
kid
be
Karen
no-
anymore.
there ain't no millennials.
It's a dead. The
They call
name's
them,
dead now.
We
Yeah.
need this is baby Karen. I go, no.
So you think that's what happened over the years, like the traditional names?
Yeah.
Like there was some
But they
sort
kinda all
of
comes
negative
around.
They're
connotation.
coming back.
Yeah.
Like you don't see a lot of
Mildred.
Marys anymore.
Oh, it's my sister's name. No.
But do you see a lot of Marys?
No, you don't. Do you see a lot of Mikes? I don't see
yeah.
a lot of Mikes.
I do.
Lane was
Mikes and like Nicks were so common that you had like 4 Mikes and 4 Nicks in your class.
Fred's
so
wondering
yeah.
where he all
Oh,
went
no, I
wrong. He's
have.
just got this blank stare.
Well, Fred's a name that's
Fred's
not-
another
there's
one. You
lot
don't
of
see a lot of young.
Fred is a real boring name.
You don't
It's-
see a
it's-
lot of young.
It's the guy
youngsters.
next door name. Yeah. Oh, Fred's out
My
mowing his
grandfather
lawn.
was.
My
my
grandfather
grandfather was
great-grandfather
Fred.
My
was a Fred,
godfather
too.
is Fred. He's
Fred
a man.
Dussault. Yeah.
Yeah. Fred Dussault.
That was my great grandpa.
I like that.
He's a fish cutter, whatever that means.
A fishmonger?
That was I think so. That's part of
Yeah.
it too. Yeah. I lived in Cambridge. Yeah.
Okay. Let's get to the Ace Ticket Hotline. Fidel's in Tampa. What's up, Fidel? Fidel! Is he there, Matt? No? No? He's gone. That's the problem with calling during
move
work.
on.
You never know when your boss is going to walk by.
That's right.
Christian's in L.A. What's up, Christian?
Hey, you guys, and greetings from the West Coast.
Yep.
Happy Football Thursday. So let's get it on. And I see us coming out of the first quarter of the season, possibly 0-4 or something of that nature. If that's the case, one, do you see us making a change to Drake May? Second part of the question, if we come out of the first half of the season, possibly again, 0-8, let's say, do you guys see us in position to get a Travis Hunter next year? And if we do you think Gerard would let him play both ways?
I don't know. Do you think Deion Sanders would let him come to New England?
That's a good question, too. I think Deion respects the lineage of New England as far as building a winner, like he's been doing. So there might be some synergy in that.
So, Christian, do you think it would be wise to let him play both ways?
You know, in this league, the way the rules are changing and being skewed towards safety, I think he has a better chance of being, successful more nowadays than he would have, several years ago.
I'm sorry, you kind of cut out a little bit. You said with the way the league is now, and then I didn't hear like with what?
The way they're skewing towards player safety, less high impact hits and things of that nature. I think he's got a better chance nowadays than he would have had like several years ago.
I would disagree only because I just think it's too much wear and tear. Like it's not about physicality, it's fatigue.
Yeah.
Like he's playing like every snap of those Colorado games.
Yeah.
And now on one hand I would say, you guys know that I don't think a whole lot of Deion Sanders as a coach. It's borderline criminal what they're doing to the kid's career.
It's Coach Prime.
They're taking time off of his career as right in front of our eyes. But at the same time, I wonder, like, if he was just playing wide receiver, would we know as much about Travis Hunter? Because it's a bad team,
right? Exactly.
And we wouldn't really, But because Sanders is his coach and he's playing both ways, we know everything about Travis Hunter, and he's terrific. So I wonder, how much of that would be the case if he was only playing one way.
Right.
Thanks, Christian. And the other thing about playing both ways in the NFL is, you're never off the field. So if your defensive coordinator is making adjustments in the sideline, you're not privy to it because you're out on the field. You're not part of those sideline, unit meetings.
The
So
money's in the wide receiver position, though. That's where I would do it. I mean, maybe
I think he's a better wide receiver too than he is a corner, but
maybe it's something in your back pocket that we've seen years where the Patriots are scrambling on defense that you've got some potential to
it's
throw
a good
them out there
luxury
instead of
to
Julian
have.
Edelman.
Yeah, it's a good luxury to have.
Troy Brown.
But I'm not necessarily interested in drafting a guy with the intentions of playing him both ways.
If anything, it's appealing that he just has the skill set because you think it would help him as a receiver.
Yeah. And I love the player. He's really good.
Oh yeah,
I love him.
A catch crazy the other night.
Mark in Fall River writes in, excited for week 1 and the season. The major reason I'm excited for the season is we took a quarterback with the 3rd overall pick. That draft pick is the prism through which everything that happens to the team for at least the next 4 to 5 years will be viewed. With that being said, I want to play a game to get a feel for the success/failure of this pick. I'm going to list some quarterbacks that are not top 3 quarterbacks. If you end up thinking of Drake May like you think of the quarterbacks below, will it be successful pick or a failed pick?
I like games.
All right. Justin Herbert.
Success.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins.
I'd be disappointed.
Jared Goff.
He's gotten better, but
success-ish. I'd like a little better.
I think Drake's more athletic than him. I think he can be a more dangerous.
Trevor Lawrence.
Disappointed so far.
As it is, right?
I'm not done with Trevor Lawrence,
Right.
but I'm a little disappointed.
Tua.
It's a good
Really
list.
good,
This
but
guy's
he's
put
really-
together a
he's
good.
good,
I'd say
but he's
little disappointed. I think
Yeah.
Drake May can be better than that.
Matt Stafford.
I'd be very happy with that.
And finally, Dak Prescott.
I'd be pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
It's a good list, though.
Yeah.
He did a good job of sort of identifying guys that are kind of polarizing.
I think Herbert's the interesting one just because that's kind of the similar package and
Mhm.
and even he hasn't really had team success yet and that is still though you're on board with him and building the team around him even though he hasn't won a playoff game yet, right?
So, Mike, you said that you watched a little of that McDaniels thing with Edelman.
Yep.
Alex, did you catch any of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the whole thing.
So
that was
I
long.
thought it was interesting. Like I didn't really have much interest in going back to the Ravens game because Mike,
tell you. I'll
know,
tell you.
no, but like
No, we-
you
yeah,
know,
we lived it.
We lived. We already did that with
Yeah.
Josh McDaniels. We don't need to go back and see someone else steal all our thoughts and opinions. But he was talking about May. He was getting McDaniels was talking a little bit about Drake May. Did you hear the thing about his cleats?
Yes, I
They,
did
how they
actually.
both
That
were
was
like,
Julian's
he's got
thing,
to,
yeah.
he's got to grow up. He's got to get a real
Yeah,
pair of
he's
cleats.
got- yeah, he's
Can't
got
have
like-
the slip-ons.
It's funny you brought that up. Yeah, he like get a heavier pair of cleats
Yeah.
is what he said because it he got stepped on and it got pulled off. But
Yeah, he's not 125 pounds. He needs a
Yeah.
heavier pair of cleats, and you can't have
Yeah,
it being.
I thought that was interesting.
Taken off like a.
I think that's good advice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's the subtlety of everything that goes into into it.
But, I remember being at Brady's locker, and he had all these boxes, and each box was labeled cold, snow, rain, and they were his gloves. And I imagine he does that with his gloves. He does that with his cleats.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the winning edge. That's
Yeah,
the detail.
that maniacal.
Yeah, you have to be that way to get the edge.
I used to love that stuff. That was some of my favorite stuff in hockey. Would be like getting my helmet just right, or getting the glove, getting the stick, like getting the bend and the toe curve in the stick that I really wanted. I ate all that stuff up. And even in football, like the first day with freshman football, you get your helmet. I was just like, oh my god, this is so odd,
Yeah.
And then my dad's like, let's go to the park, and he put the helmet on. I'm like, and the shoulder pads, and you're like, this is really hard. It's so you
How
can't see
surprised
anything.
would you be if I told you that I was very much into that stuff?
Oh, high school, right?
Oh.
Not so much anymore, but
Oh no, that's
Yeah,
why I was
yeah.
like, I couldn't care even a little
you
bit
had to have the right face
about what
mask and-
uniforms
yeah.
they're wearing and what
Both
I will
yours.
say I like those uniforms. I don't like those, but that's it. That's
Yeah.
the extent of it. But I was maniacal.
Well, hockey's
in
got
high
a lot of
school.
equipment too that you have to, like there's like how do you transition from your skate to your shin pads? Is your tongue out? Is it in? There's all this like subtlety to hockey stuff because there's so much of
So
it.
it's also changed so much. Like now, football players, it's like no one ever wears sleeves. Like, well, the uniforms themselves were kind of long sleeves when I played.
Yeah.
They,
Right.
and
They
with,
sound like you.
they used to come at least below the elbow,
yeah.
right? So I used to, our uniforms were red. Our home uniforms were red, and I used to wear a white shirt underneath it, so just a little white showed with the red. and then the road uniforms were white, and I had a
love
red
this.
shirt that went with
I love
that.
this for you, Paul.
Like,
This is
th-
great
that
to
kind
see
of
this
stuff.
side
The
of you.
towel, my towel,
It's got to be right. Like
had to be perfect, just
Yeah.
slightly askew to the left.
This is
Because I'm
great
lefty,
stuff.
I needed to keep the left hand warm. Left hand dry.
anything special with the towel? Just standard towel that wasn't embroidered or anything of this nature?
No.
Terry cloth?
Monogrammed.
PP.
We also had these long shirt. Again, this is like a long time ago, so they don't make
And yet you
uniforms like this
remember it
anymore.
all.
Oh, yeah.
No, but like they used to have these shirts, and they were basically made for linemen. Like they
Right.
would go down like really low, and they'd actually would button like
Yeah.
almost like a onesie,
Like a bodysuit.
Yeah, you could wear it, but no one ever used that, right?
yeah.
And it was just kind of annoying. It was kind of like in the way and stuff. So
Yeah.
we used to cut them.
Oh yeah.
And then, because we never got to take our uniforms home, they were laundered for us. So I cut it off one week, and it came back all hemmed. It was like the
Oh,
greatest thing
nice.
ever.
Wow.
I was like, this
So
is awesome.
That way it doesn't fray.
I always
Right.
thought those the senior football players were the coolest, who had like their shirt cut off with like
Yeah.
their abs out. And
See, it was a good thing that I did not play in that era, because I never had those abs that I could.
No,
that I
Crop
could
top
do.
season.
Even when I was skinny, I did not have abs.
Did Andy wear a neck guard? Like
Andy had a neck guard and a half cut shirt.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Visor maybe even.
I don't know if he had a visor.
That was the big
Do you
face
ever
mask.
remember him talking about visors?
No, I don't think he had the visor.
I had the stupid horse collar. Like I can't even hit you. I'm a freshman football player. It's like there's no reason.
Yeah.
But
You gotta look the part, though. You gotta look the part.
Like what number am I gonna be? Did you care about what number you were though? You had to be a quarterback number, like 12 or something. No, that's where we draw the line.
course.
Did you wear a chain?
12.
Did you wear a chain underneath your
I mean,
pants?
his girlfriend
So
did.
I did for a long time. And
Wore a
then,
chain?
yeah.
Cross?
And
Cross?
Someone
Saint
a key
Anthony.
to leave you.
Was it the horn?
There was no horn.
It was the horn. The horn of fertility. The horn of fertility.
I knew that Fred would get to that. I
yeah.
knew you would, and you never disappoint. Yes, he knows me so well. It's so scary. But like when
At
I
least
was
it wasn't a Coke spoon.
when I was in no, I didn't do that. When I was in youth, like Pop Warner, I never took it off. Like I every shower, like I never ever took the chain off.
How else would
So
you let
I would
people know
so
you're
I would wear
Italian?
it.
Yeah.
And then I got tackled once. Be a horse collar today.
Yeah, right. They get you.
And the chain came up and it kind of left the red mark, and I was like,
Oh.
you know what? I'm not going to wear that anymore.
Yeah.
And I like in high school, I think it was like in a JV game my sophomore year that happened.
Rip your chain.
And I
Never
was like,
again.
I don't want that to get broken. I don't want to get strangled. So I stopped wearing it.
All right. Good stuff. Good old uniform.
Oh, the socks.
Yeah.
See, we also had now no one wears socks.
Yeah,
Or they're like ankle socks. Like your whole calf is.
Yeah, no.
Our socks were up to the knee.
Yeah.
Because you probably had that too, right?
When I played, it was some guys had it, some guys didn't.
Yeah. See, everybody had socks when I played.
The pads were always like you had like.
We had the crappiest equipment.
Oh yeah, us too. Ours had been around since.
There's
the
another
80s.
one, another uniform staple of mine. We had girdle pads, right?
Yeah.
And they were separate. Like now, it's like they make all this stuff. It's phenomenal. The
fancy. I
stuff.
know.
It's all like it just. You wear like a pair of spandex on that has the pads in it.
Yep.
It's great,
Yep.
right? Well, we had actual girdle pads that you had to put the pads in, and there was like a pad that would stick out like this much.
Yep.
Well, you tuck your shirt inside that pad. You left the pad out.
Right.
That meant you were a skill guy.
Well, we were still getting the pads that you guys had, as I was like early '90s, but it's the same leftover, and especially when I was playing freshman JV, like you're getting the hand-me-downs, and like the girdle thing was like a pair of shorts, if you were lucky, that had the 2 hip pads and the like butt crack pad in it. Which do guys even still wear the butt crack pad? Like
the sternum
that,
pad.
like there's like one right on the like you're right at the top of your.
I
butt
wore
crack.
it. I don't think they wear
And
them
then the
anymore,
thigh
though.
pads, and then the knee pads.
They
and
hardly
barely
even
wear
those.
anything now. They don't
So
wear
you know what
knee
they
pads?
do?
Yeah.
Like they cut the knee pad in half, so it's like this
Just
big.
a little donut.
Yeah.
Like it used to be a huge thing.
Oh yeah, right. And it would look all floppy around. It didn't look good. It wasn't sexy.
Jake writes in, I was wondering what your thoughts are on Tom Brady's recent comments about how rookie quarterbacks are thrown in too early and how he thinks the Patriots are doing the right thing with Drake. I'm in the camp of wanting to see the kid start whenever he got the playbook down, cleaned up what he needs to clean up. But I'd be lying if I said the GOAT's comments don't have me considering how valuable watching from a safe spot is to an extent.
But don't you think that was valuable for him, Mike?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, he's gonna. I think there's a balance to it, and
But Breer was on today with Beadle and Zolak, and he was talking about since Drew Locker, I forget what year that was, 2000.
Jake Locker.
Jake Locker.
Drew Lock, Jake Locker.
Yeah, whatever. But since that time, there's been like 48 quarterbacks taken in the first round or something like that, and only 3 of them had a red shirt
It
year.
goes to 08 with Matt Ryan. That's where it starts.
And only 3 of them had a red
Jake
shirt
Locker is
year.
one of the red shirts.
Yeah. And, of course, Mahomes is the other.
Well, there's 3.
And Jordan Love was the third. And all of them, had quarterbacks, established quarterbacks, and they had playoff aspirations even without that guy that they just drafted. He said historically it'll be very hard for the Patriots to not play Drake May this year. Just the clamor for him will be there, but I don't think I think it's less. We have to play him because our fans want to. In the media, I think it just makes sense to get him in at some point. I really do.
I mean, independent of Jacoby Brissett, what are they waiting?
Like,
what
okay,
will they be looking
let
for?
him. Let him. A little spoiler alert: our first PU show on TV will be tomorrow on Channel 38. Oh, today.
Might be tonight.
Today's Thursday,
Tonight.
right? Today on Channel 38.
Tonight.
What time? 9:30?
I believe it's at 9:30
Yeah.
on TV 38.
Yeah. Right after
prime time.
Seinfeld.
So just click over during the halftime of the NFL game.
There you go.
We'll post it on Patriots.com
We'll
as
get it
well.
in post.
But a little spoiler alert, I talk about my take on, whether or not Drake May should play. But I think, let him watch a few games, let the coaches see what their offense looks like because they don't know, and then insert him into, something that is a known entity.
Patriots down by 2 scores, fourth quarter. Do you want them? Do you want them in?
No.
Just generally.
In
Like
this game?
season. This season. No, I mean not necessarily
No,
this game.
no.
But just,
I would prefer
weeks 3, 4,
barring
5.
injury. I'd prefer to have him start the game.
That's you.
Whatever the game.
Yeah, I don't like, and I know that I'm nitpicking the exact scenario.
Yeah.
Like that's too close. The other team's going to still be. Like,
All right, sorry. Yeah.
I don't
3
need him.
touchdown.
Well, like, do you want him basically you want him to mop up? No problem with that.
Yeah.
Like to me, down
Does that-
2 in the fourth quarter, the other team's. Like that's Calais
Right,
Campbell
yeah,
landing
yeah.
on Mac Jones time.
Yeah,
like
bad,
that's not
bad example.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. But saying game out of reach, and is there value to that? Like, or is this just?
I think
I don't think
I
so.
think there's some value
I
to it.
don't-
Now it's not the same as starting a game.
No, of course.
If that's all the action he gets, I'm 1,000% with Fred. That's not enough.
But a couple drives, and you start already say he's been in a couple times. You know, he's led a couple drives.
So Christian's question, like back to Christian's original point in that call when he said, if they're 0-4, like I don't think that has anything to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's all about May.
Yeah.
And, how do you know? Like, I've been reading a lot about, and what is the name of that technique that Mayo mentioned? Is the Feynman technique?
Strike technique. I'm sorry. I don't
Not
know.
the strike. There's not Scott
Strike
Peters.
system?
Not the strike system.
I don't know.
Quest Tech.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're referring.
There was so the idea of the quarterback sort of running the game plan. Like you give the game plan to the quarterbacks, and now Drake May's job is to sort of deliver that game plan to Jacoby Brissett.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of
I got
establishing an understanding of what we're doing.
If you can teach a wrench, you can dodge a,
Right. Dodge, duck, dip,
I
dive,
love
and
that
dodge.
movie so much.
Right?
So good.
But so if he's doing, like, if they can put up things like that, put him in scenarios where he's running the quarterback meeting.
Yeah.
And that this is how they're going to learn.
Yeah.
His aptitude for what he's trying to develop, right?
Yeah. And how they're going to see if he has it.
And then on the field. And I think once they feel comfortable with that stuff, that's when I do it. I don't care if they're, 0-8 or not. If they don't feel like he can do that in the meetings, then you got to stick with Brissett. If you do feel like he can do it, then I would make the move.
One more interesting thing about the McDaniels, and Andrews talked about it too. So Andrews and Hoyer on the podcast, Andrews was talking about how both he and Jacoby Brissett have been in the same system, so they can compare currently what they're doing back to what they learned previously. But I think we've discussed in this system, the center makes a lot of the calls. It's not all on the quarterback. And Josh talked a little bit about that, of saying, there's a direction now where teams aren't putting it all on the quarterback. And Josh kind of stood by what he believed. He said, I want a quarterback who can do everything. And, he's not going to be thrown off, and he knows everything that's going on. So, two different philosophies.
I want Tom Brady.
Right. And I think, that's probably part of the issue is, he was maybe giving Mac the answers a little bit in that regard early on. But it's just, I thought it was interesting that Josh, still philosophically believes you should put it all on the quarterback.
Yeah, I think you got to know who your quarterback is. If he can do that, great.
There was one other thing I just saw too, because we talked about Josh, the disconnect with, it was Hoyer thing from this.
Yeah, it was Hoyer and Andrews. They were
And
calling players soft, pretty much, like the new generation of players, and they think
because
that's why they didn't take to Daniels'
the bad plays on the film, bad plays.
Yeah.
And he said Bill would do like 10 bad plays, which are infamous about going through film, and he said Josh would do like 2 or 3, and the guys were not having it.
Yeah, Brian's talked to me a little bit about that.
A bunch of babies
when
out
he
there.
came in.
That's awful.
When he did the podcast, the Pats from the Past podcast, I think Matt and I talked to him about it, and he said, it's just one of those deals. Like, he never thought anything of it because he's been around 15 years, and that's, it's coaching.
You have to be able to take feedback.
They didn't like it.
What the hell are we doing here?
They didn't like
different levels of resilience.
Bubba writes in.
How come Alex has that resistance? She's of that.
I had a hard life.
Oh, okay.
All right.
From Springfield.
I didn't mean to.
You come from the hard
open that can of
the hard
worms.
scrabble
Divorced
streets
households.
of Springfield.
Oh, I got the trauma.
But like
a lot of work on myself.
There's a lot of people that come from that kind of a background.
Yeah,
they don't seem to.
The worst thing that
soft.
ever
I would not
happened to
describe you ever as
is
soft.
the worst thing that ever happened to you. So if that's like losing a material item, that's the worst thing that ever happened to you, and that's your barometer for what you can kind of handle. Whereas someone has gone through hell can probably know they can handle a lot more.
I would think that she should be like a motivational speaker or something.
I do. I just
like the worst thing that's ever happened to you
I
is
would
the worst
swear
thing that
too
ever
much.
happened to you.
I would cuss way too much. Sorry,
you were
Mom.
a potty mouth today.
I want my
which
kids,
I liked.
I want
I
my
do. I
kids
came
to
in
be,
hot today.
I do, and I like that because I feel like I'm not the only one with a.
Bubba
sailor's
writes
mouth.
in, my question is that the Pats used to be famous for their discipline. They would never beat themselves. It was the other teams who made sloppy plays. But since 2020, they started being sloppy with pre-snap penalties, stupid plays, even under Bill. What happened? Why is it still going on, and how will they fix it? I am okay with the rebuild as long as they don't beat themselves.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I think of everything you point to Bill, like, at the end, that was what was most jarring to me was that's what you thought you could hang your hat on. And post Brady, it's like, all right, we don't have the Brady anymore, but at least hopefully this defense is going to play hard.
Yeah.
They're not going to beat themselves. They're going to be a pain in the butt, and you're going to have to put them down every time. They're not going to put themselves down.
I mean, coaching, obviously it starts with that, but then the quality of the players.
So I was just going to say, can I go with the easy answer? Is
Right.
that the roster is not as good as it was?
Right.
And like I think any offensive player would do anything to not disappoint Tom Brady. And did they feel that way about Mac Jones? Were they playing to that level with?
I
Mac?
wonder if
don't
they
know.
felt that way about Bill anymore. Like if they were still buying what he was selling, you know. And
Yeah,
if it's,
I don't know if they did, but that didn't make them jump offside, and that didn't make them not know when they were supposed to be on the field.
Yeah. Well, that
I just I'm with Fred. Like I think that we always gave all of that credit to the coaches, where maybe the players deserved a little bit more credit for being ridiculously disciplined and ridiculously clutch when games were on the line and not beating themselves.
Yeah.
You know?
Let's get to the phones. We got a couple in. We got to hurry because we got to get the picks. Boston Cream's on the line. What's up? What's up, Cream?
My donut. What's up?
Hey, Fred, is it true that you kissed Tom Brady on the cheek?
Yes.
Cheeks.
Did you kiss Mac Jones on the cheek?
No.
Oh. Well, there
So
it is.
what are you going to do with Drake May?
To be determined. You know,
That's up to Drake May.
To be determined. It's up to Drake.
Drake May has all that in front of him.
For the sake of Drake.
Quick question. Who has a more successful season? Drake May if he had the 2007 roster, or Tom Brady if he walked onto this team right now?
Ooh. That's a good one.
I'm going to say Tom Brady.
I kinda say
Yeah,
Tom Brady, I
yeah,
think,
Tom Brady
too.
if he walked on with us on the field.
Yeah.
That's a good question though.
No,
it's a good question.
Does he survive the season?
Some
Yeah,
thoughts of
is Drake May a rookie in 2007? Is he walking on as a
that's what we
rookie?
just said.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
If you just put Drake May right now on the 2007 team or Tom Brady right now on this
Tom
team.
Brady when he was a rookie?
No, he said right now.
Tom Brady.
Oh,
right
well, then
now.
Tom Brady.
Retired Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Drake
Thanks-
throwing
thanks for the call.
Randy Moss down the field.
I like
That'd be
that
fun.
Boston Cream.
Go ahead, walk in front
Go
of
ahead,
the camera,
Evan.
Evan.
There he is.
Evan's
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
here. We'll get one more call, and then we'll turn to Evan to see what he has to say. Awala Owls, AOWALS. Is that? Do I have that
Oasis.
right? Oasis.
Ooh,
in
that's cool.
in Easton. What's up, Oasis?
Hey, not much. Hey, I got a question for Paul. I wanted to know, as far as the O-line and the protection, why did we go away from the fullback? Like when we used to have James Devlin, and then after James Devlin, like we had those good years. We had that German fella, and after him, like we never really went back to a fullback. Like
Yeah,
Ravens, they have
the
a Picard, and they have a solid run offense. Like why can't we go back towards how we used to have that?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. We've gotten it a few times. I know the last couple of times I've done the mailbag. I'm sure you guys are getting it as well. I think it's, for the running game, it wouldn't necessarily help in pass protection because you wouldn't have two backs necessarily in the backfield on obvious passing situations. But there's an argument to be made that, you can have a lead blocker in the run game when you want to rely so much on being physical and pound away. I just don't think that that's necessarily been a staple for Cleveland. I'm not a huge fan of the fullback unless you have a really special talent. Yeah, like a guy who has ridiculous versatility, who can be physical at the point of attack, who can be athletic in space and catch the ball as a receiver. There aren't a lot of those guys around. I know that the Ravens do it with the opposite. It's just the big mammoth guy who is like a tackle. He's so big.
Awesome
But
player.
I'm not, I'm not a huge fan of. I feel like taking skill off the field is a step in the wrong direction for a team that's sort of lacking game-breaking players.
All right, a quick follow-up. The Shanahan, I think he runs also a West Coast offense on in 49ers, and I think they utilize a lot of Juszczyk, right? So
Right, and Mike
I
just
know we're
talked
going
about him,
toward,
yeah.
West Coast, yeah.
Yeah, if we had a guy like that, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
But it's hard to find those guys.
Right, there's one.
Yeah.
I'm a big
Thank you,
fullback.
Thanks,
guy.
Oasis.
Love fullbacks.
Yeah. Evan's here.
Hello.
Has returned from practice.
No fullback talk.
Has returned from practice. Yeah, Evan has returned from practice. What was the mood? Who wasn't there? What did he see?
All right, Evan, you're back from practice and the locker room.
And the big day
And the
today. A
coaches.
lot going on today. In terms of practice, let's start there because that's what I'm here for. No City So still at Patriots practice. He's the lone player missing from the 53-man roster. Don't know what's going on with Jocelyn Russell, but we haven't seen him the last couple of days either. But City So missing. We saw a lot of Michael Jordan at left guard. So that might be where the winds are blowing in terms of who's going to start the game off at left guard on Sunday in place of So. But that was really the biggest update. There was we're still doing the whole stay for one period, leave and come back thing. So that's why it takes so long.
Yeah.
But
just from what you know,
yes,
give me the starting five on the line.
Going left to right.
Yep.
Chooks, Michael Jordan, David Andrews, Layden Robinson, Big Mike.
Okay.
I would put money on that being it at this point. I think Nick Leverett has a chance to maybe rotate in there. It's week 1, so I don't know if anybody's going to go wire to wire. Usually they do have a little bit of a rotation in certain spots, but it seems to me like Michael Jordan is really a guard-only type player, whereas Leverett can back up all 3 spots. So if there's an injury in game, it's easier to put Leverett in at right guard, center, left guard versus Jordan. So maybe that would be the case, but they'll have to call Jordan up from the practice squad. It'll have to be an elevation, so that'll take up one of those.
What do you guys think if there's rotation at tackle, what it would look like?
Yeah, we did see Vidarian Lowe out there today, and it seemed like he was doing a little bit more than what we saw out of him yesterday. So maybe there's a possibility that him and Chukwuekorfor could be in a rotation.
Good news.
At left tackle. I think Big Mike, if he's going to play right tackle, they're going to try to see him go the distance.
Yeah, I would expect to see Leverett at both guards at some point. If it's going to be Jordan and Robinson, I would expect to see some rotation.
So does that mean Andrews goes the distance?
Yeah, probably, because I don't think they feel comfortable with anybody backing them up.
Yeah.
It's a fair point.
It's true. What else, Evan? Any other thoughts that you know?
No, not a ton. This is the first day that I don't believe we saw them in the pennies, yesterday where, you have scout team guys wearing numbers of the opposing player. So we're really starting to get into regular season practices now where you see scout team guys and things like that. And like I mentioned, we were in for period 1, which was stretching, out for period 2, which is still, I believe, a walkthrough period that they don't want us seeing, and back in for 3 and 4. But they cut period 5 today, so we didn't quite see as much as.
So when you go away for the period and then come back, when you go away, guys play cards. Like, what do you do?
Chick-fil-A.
Well, we were trying to advocate for some maybe some blankets or chairs or something for us to kind of sit on. While we were waiting to go back in.
So no impromptu poker games or
no,
anything like that?
Just a lot of talk, football, obviously. Some fantasy football.
Grousing.
Some fantasy football chatter today with Moose. Yeah, had some good fantasy football.
Oh, God.
So
do you think why I'm so disappointed I missed that?
It was fun. Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't go crazy. I'm just going to say
Do you think
fun.
that's the way they'll do it all year?
It's
or is there something you think specifically with special teams they're trying to get installed?
I believe this will be the way we do it the whole year because this is not brand new. This happened a little bit under Bill as well, where that second period is like a walkthrough period where they're putting the starting 11 in all 3 phases out there, and they don't necessarily want to see.
Do they bring you into a holding tank? Like what is it?
Nope, just right outside the gate. And Aaron,
you just can't
guys,
see anything.
guys, that's our time.
No looking.
Get us out of here.
I just was wondering, like, once it starts getting cold, if you get that time, so you go out there, you get your attendance, you see who's there.
I'm good.
And
I don't need to see warm.
They didn't come back.
In order to get you there in a timely way, because you don't want to hold up. Is there like a cattle prod involved, or how do they get you to move?
It's like a parade. Of media, I would call it, and we all just kind of parade down there together. But there are people that are starting to duck out after stretch.
That's what
I take my attendance.
And they don't
what I'd be doing.
No, and a lot of those people. I don't want to name names because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. But a lot of those people, I assume, are going to write up attendance. So, they write quick, 300 words on who was at practice. And there's really nothing to glean from the 2 periods that they open up. It's really for the cameras, so that the TV stations and stuff can get their B-roll.
Ball, you want to be out there, right?
You love ball.
Well, we love ball, Deuce, as you know. So I
You're a ball
lover. Ball knower,
but really,
lover.
it's for the TV cameras to get their B-roll and that kind of stuff.
When they bring you into this area,
yes,
is there a group of guys and women who are they're cooperative. Okay, it's time to go. And are there stragglers that you really have
trying
to?
to get
Hey,
some
come on,
last
we got to
glimpse.
get going.
Yeah.
There are some.
There are.
And
There are.
And are there people taking notes? People taking names?
Like people as in PR?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
heard some grousing about that.
And do they get a talking to? Have they been given a talking to?
You might.
Yeah.
Little
Shame.
Little slap on the wrist.
Shame.
Little-
Shame.
You know, those are one of those things that, if you're from an external outlet, like maybe you bend it a little bit. Me, I'm like, I'm out, right?
Yeah,
So,
sure.
it's a little bit
You're a good
different.
boy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
Yes, you are.
Good boy.
Yes,
you
I
are.
don't break any rules during
Okay.
practice.
All right, that's good. And
Sometimes.
then later on, they're going to be rewarded for their cooperation with Chick-fil-A.
Wow. They get Chick-fil-A
Right?
again today?
Well,
Not today.
No,
not today?
because
Oh.
now
That's
now
just
it's
Wednesday.
over. Like the media that comes down for availability, their day is done
They're
now.
done. They can
Right.
go home.
Yeah, which is nice.
a
And the
dream.
new schedule
When
is
you're done,
nice.
you can go home.
Yeah, so tomorrow,
what
if
they
you're done,
say.
you'll go home.
Yep.
That'll be good.
Yep.
All
All
right.
right. Well, that's your practice report from Evan. Thank you, Evan.
You're welcome.
And now it's time for our picks.
Wow. We're back.
No buys
that
this
sound.
week,
Had a lot of games.
All right.
so we have to hurry.
So real quick, I'll just give you a recap.
No, we don't
Here's
have
the
to.
You don't
final,
have to do that.
final
No.
standings from last year. Alex, I want to give Alex her flowers.
All
we know
right.
how territorial she is
That's
about these
literally
things.
why she's here.
175 and 97.
There's actually a seat for me today.
Followed by Paul, 171, 101. Mike, third place.
Yeah, I did better.
168, 104. Evan, 164 and 108. Fred,
Hater.
162 and
And
110. With the spread, however,
where
as
the-
I
Fred,
wanna
as Fred likes to
though,
say, where you separate
as bad
the
as I was still 52 games over 500.
There you go.
Yeah, well, it only matters
Right.
what you are against the spread,
we'll
right?
get
Am I
we'll
right?
get to that. Paul, 144, 117 and 11. That's just
Making
Very
money.
good.
outrageous.
Very good.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
Followed by Alex, 135, 126 and 11.
Making money.
Evan, 128, 133 and 11.
Bronze medal.
Fred, 125, 136 and 11. And Mike, 124, 137 and 11.
You're losing. Mike.
Please,
bad?
please do not check the math. I'm sure it's wrong, but that's what I had written down.
There it
I
is.
did a little better. Than
Nah,
that. But
it's-
anyway, I don't care.
Yeah, I gave you
Making,
losses that you didn't
that-
get. I
that
didn't
wa-
say that anything that was wrong.
That was last year.
Suspect.
This is this year. And so let's get going. What's our order here? How are we going to do this? Who's going to go first?
Well, I have it Mike, Alex, Evan, Paul, Fred.
All right.
on my
Mike,
list.
Alex, Evan,
Clockwise.
Paul, Fred.
Clockwise
Okay.
from Fred.
So how's that?
Okay.
Which
Clockwise from
What's
Fred.
clockwise?
Mike,
The way- this
Alex,
way, right?
Evan,
It
Paul,
goes the way of a
Fred.
clock.
Yeah.
That was a shot.
I haven't.
Have you never?
I
you
use
haven't
my
looked
phone.
at an
Oh, you never
analog
did
clock?
I
Boomer.
don't know what that is.
Boomer. What's a
Hey,
clock?
hey, Boomer.
I look at my phone.
What's
Yeah,
what's the
your
minute
clocks
hands,
are feng
Boomer?
shui in your apartment.
Hey, call me a boomer, not a Karen.
All right, we got to hurry.
Go
We
get
have
your
to hurry.
son.
We established that earlier.
We have to hurry. All right, tonight the season opens at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC, Telemundo, and Universo. The Ravens are at the Chiefs.
Raise the banner.
Is it on Peacock too? Should we leave
No,
that one
that's
out?
tomorrow night.
No, I thought this one was too.
Nope.
Anyway, Kansas City by 3.
3.
KC by 3.
All right. I'm gonna make a rule this year that I'm gonna pick Kansas City. And even although against Baltimore, I'm gonna take Kansas City. I'll lay the 3 points. I can't bet against the 2-time defending Super Bowl champs, so I'll take
At home.
the Chiefs at
No,
home.
they'll be pumped and jacked.
Remember they lost in this spot last year?
That doesn't matter to me, Paul.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
called
but
the
this
trend.
year, like, Patrick carried that team last year, and they still won the Super Bowl, and I think they're better this year. Chiefs.
Chiefs.
I'm taking Baltimore. I feel like when you played in the AFC Championship game and got your butts kicked the year before, the Ravens a little bit more motivated than the Chiefs to win this type of game. But I think Xavier Worthy has a monster game, and we all look
boy.
at each other like
No,
they got another one.
no.
But I'd take the Ravens.
Yeah, I think this one could go either way. I am going to take the Chiefs because they lost that game last year in this spot, and I think they're a little bit more focused than perhaps they were going against Detroit. And maybe Kadarius Toney will not be handing the other team points like he did last year on a consistent basis. I will take the Chiefs, both ways.
The correct answer is Evan.
Oh.
Baltimore wins outright.
And just so people might be new to the show, this is why Fred finishes so far behind everybody else, because he has these things in his head where he refuses to take the team he thinks is going to win because he wants them to lose.
Well,
hard.
that's
It's a
true. I do
battle.
want the Chiefs
I love
to
his
lose.
random grudges.
If I could have both of them lose, I would because they're in the AFC and
The random-
playoff ramifications.
I could write a book on the random grudges.
Good.
I could write a book on it.
Yeah,
Well,
but
we're working on
Maybe a
Friends book,
coffee table
remember?
book. Yeah. it'd be a
but
coffee
I am
table.
going with the Ravens. I think the Ravens, to me,
I'm looking forward to this game tonight.
Yeah,
Two
yeah.
really good teams.
yeah.
I hope they both play well.
Yeah.
I hope they both play
All
well.
right,
This one's on
tom-
NBC, so
tomorrow
you don't worry
night
about
in
it.
Sao Paulo, Brazil, on Peacock exclusively. This is an 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time start. The Packers are at, and I put that in quotes, the Eagles. The Eagles are the home team.
Okay, the Eagles by 2.
2. It's a tough one. I like both these teams. I certainly respect the Eagles. After seeing them this summer, I just thought Jalen Carter looks like he's ready to have a monster year and take over for Fletcher Cox. But I'm a big Green Bay fan too. But I'm going to go with Philadelphia, though, in this one. I will lay the points. I just think they squeak it out.
I'm going to choose an un upseto in São Paulo.
What language is that?
I don't think that's an actual word. I don't know how you say upset in Portuguese. Triste? I don't know. I'm choosing the upset. Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Yeah.
Go.
I'm
Pat,
also
go.
taking Green Bay because the Eagles have done nothing but whine about having to go to Sao Paulo for like 2 straight weeks. So I think Green Bay wants to be there a little bit more than Philadelphia does. So I'm going to take the Pack.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. Philadelphia has done a lot of bitching about having to be in the hotel.
They can
I
leave
think
the hotel.
I'm going to take
Just
the
gotta deal
Eagles.
with it.
I just think they're more talented, and I think they have reset, refocused. We'll see if it lasts. We'll see if Hurts and Sirianni can get along. But I'm going to take the Eagles out of the chute here.
Yeah.
But this is another one I think could go either way.
Oh, yeah, we talked about
2 really
the
good
toughest
games.
weeks to pick games. It's weeks 1, 2, and 17 are your toughest weeks to pick games. This
Yeah.
game kind of underscores that. We have no idea if the Eagles are going to turn it around after they fell off last year, if Jordan Love is going to be the guy that people hope he's going to be. So I'm going to go with the Eagles for what Paul said. I think they've got an edge on talent. But
slight.
Yeah, but who
Slight.
knows?
Yeah, these could be
Two
the,
good
the two
teams.
conference.
Yeah.
These could be the 2 conference championship games.
Yeah.
It's
Two good
not a
teams. I
stretch.
agree, Mike.
All right, now we move to Sunday, 1 o'clock game on Fox. The Steelers are at the Falcons.
In Atlanta by 3.5.
Ooh, this is a tough one here. I think a lot of people feel like Atlanta's a little bit on the come, up and coming team. I'm not sure I believe that yet. I think Pittsburgh's still kind of trying to figure it out. So I'm going to go with Atlanta. However, I'm going to take the
hook?
The hook.
It's not a hoof.
The hook.
So you're taking Atlanta to win,
and
Pittsburgh to cover.
I'll take Pittsburgh to cover.
Okay, Mike.
Close one.
I'm going to pick Atlanta. I'm going to give Atlanta and our friend Judon the points as well.
Dirty Birds. They're back.
Both
Taking
ways?
Atlanta both ways. I really think this is the year that it stinks for the Steelers. I know everybody says this every single year that this is the year that Tomlin loses below 500, but Russell Wilson is porked. I'm taking the Falcons.
Yeah, Evan just took the words out of my mouth. I'm taking Atlanta both ways, and I think that this is the end of the non-losing season in Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson is so done.
I keep
so
forgetting
done.
he's there.
Okay.
See ya,
I am going to go with the Falcons, but I will take the hook and take those points because I don't have confidence in the Falcons yet.
No, you're right.
It's kind of like years ago with the Lions. You'd always be wrong, but you just never thought they were going to do it,
Yeah.
and then they'd cover. But
Got to see it.
yeah, I will take the Falcons, but not to cover. 1 o'clock on CBS, the Cardinals are at the Bills.
Buffalo by 6.5.
Ooh, it's a big number.
6.5. That is a big number.
It's not the
Josh
biggest.
Allen, no more Diggs, and I don't know. I'm going to take Buffalo to win. Yeah, I'm going to lay the points too. I don't feel great about that though. I feel like Arizona might be a little spunky this year.
Only because it's week 1, I'm going to say that Buffalo wins the game, but I don't think they cover.
Yeah, I'm with Alex. I take Buffalo, but I'll take Arizona to cover that spread. But Josh Allen, MVP of the league this year.
Oh, okay.
So you're back hot on Josh.
Okay.
I've always been
All
hot on
right.
Josh.
Oh, I do declare.
Never stopped.
So I am going to take Buffalo both ways. I think much like we talk about Pittsburgh and all those things, this is like the 4th year in a row that Buffalo's done. I'm not buying it. I think Buffalo will, and I do think Arizona will be better, by the way. But I think Buffalo will roll.
I'm going to go Buffalo both ways, but the window is
Closed
closing
again.
It's starting to
It
close.
closed in 2021,
and
but
okay.
it's
And
still
look at
closed.
Buffalo as being a possible landing spot for one Bill Belichick next year. They're building a new stadium. They could use that marketing boost. You bring him in for a few years,
It's on
sell
Instagram now,
tickets,
you know,
and
We
they're
gotta
close
hurry.
because as long as you get Josh Allen, you're close.
We're running out
So,
of time.
but Bills both ways for this week. Fox, 1 o'clock. The Titans are at the Bears.
Ugh.
And by the way, all records are 0-0 at this point. Sorry.
Good. Thank you for that
That struck me
clarification,
funny.
Fred. Chicago by 3.5.
3.5, huh? Caleb Williams, Roma Dunze. They got some weapons in there. I'm not sure
DJ
what to,
Moore.
DJ Moore. I'm not sure
Other
what to
guys.
expect
Cole
from
Kmet.
Will Levi's
Allen.
and his
Running
aging
back.
group of weaponry. I'm going to take Chicago.
DeAndre Swift.
I'll lay the points.
That's the Chicago way.
That is.
I will take Chicago as well. I think they're headed in the right direction, like finally. But maybe I just like Will Levis more than other people. I'm gonna give.
It's
I'm gonna
Levis?
give him- I don't know.
Is he a
Levi's.
good-looking dude?
It's about the genes.
He's too young for me, but he's cute.
Oh, jeez.
too young.
for me. What's he, 5 years younger than
Too
you?
young.
All right, so Chicago, and you're taking the points with Tennessee. Okay. Ev?
I'm gonna take Chicago both ways. I think the Titans are gonna stink. I think they might be like #1 pick stink. That's all I got.
Yeah, the Titans are back to that. You know how I always call them the most anonymous team in
Right.
the league?
Yeah.
Most
Yeah.
nondescript
Who's on
team.
it?
Titans. Who
Yeah.
they got? You know,
DeAndre
They don't even have Derrick
Uh,
Henry anymore. Like it's not.
Yeah,
Not Mike
Tony
Vrabel.
Pollard.
They're dead to me.
You know,
No
they made
Vrabel.
some moves in free agency, but I think Chicago.
Calvin Ridley, remember?
I'm going to take Chicago here both ways.
How could you forget?
Yeah, I'm not saying this is a upset lock of the week, but I'm pretty certain the Titans win this game.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, and
All right.
Paul, you can talk about my
What did
my
you take?
ulterior
I'm sorry.
motives.
Who'd you take?
Titans, outright.
Why would
I'm
Fred
sorry.
Not like
This is
Chicago?
yeah. This
Yeah.
is
What
not,
are the Chicago grievances?
This
wants
is not one
Caleb
of my
Williams.
things.
Oh, you're supposed to say, well, you hope Caleb Williams doesn't do well.
Oh, I didn't know you had a thing with Caleb Williams.
I don't really, but I hope he doesn't do well.
He doesn't yet.
It's because he paints his nails.
Fair
no,
enough.
I actually think him doing well
Fair.
would be good for the league, much
Does he-
like Baker Mayfield.
Good for the league.
Do you think he cries?
I don't really
Will he cry when he
adhere to
wins
that.
it?
Okay, so moving along.
Does he
one
cry
o'clock-
if they win, or does he cry if they lose? Though.
Either. Little baby.
1
Either
o'clock
way, I have the
CBS. We got to hurry. The Texans are at the Colts. It's a good one.
This is one of the two road favorites this week. Houston by 3.
Houston by 3. Anthony Richardson back. I'm going to take Houston on the road. I think they live up to the hype. They beat a divisional rival on the road. I'm still not quite certain why there's some buzz around Indy, but I'm going to go
Why
with Houston.
not? I mean, they were a competitive team last year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they beat the Patriots.
I think Anthony Richardson started like, what is he, like 16
Their
starts
backup
since, like,
quarterback led them to within like 2 yards of the playoffs. I
know,
think they
but-
were very
but
competitive.
While Richardson was in there, they were not a bad team.
No, I know, and their
Yeah.
backup
Minshew might
led
have
them
been better.
to within like one
I
drive
know.
of the playoffs.
Yeah.
They lost on the last play of the game to Houston.
Yeah.
Make your pick.
Just-
I'm waiting for the.
Got all day. Here.
We have to hurry.
No, actually,
Uh,
Paul's agreeing with me.
I am very much agreeing with you.
What's the spread again? I'm sorry.
Houston's favored by 3.
Houston.
I'm also taking the Texans both ways. I don't buy the Colts hype at all. I don't buy it. I'm selling.
I will take Indy to win outright as just a mild upset to start the
Yeah.
season.
Paul's right.
I'm not.
Indy
Game
outright.
hasn't been played yet. I'm not right.
Indy outright.
This
1
is
o'clock.
much like when I was asked on TV how much better the special teams are this year, and I was like, well, they haven't played a game yet.
1 o'clock CBS. The Jaguars are at the Dolphins.
Miami by 3.5.
Yeah, this is early season in Miami, even though they're playing another Florida team. I got to imagine they're going to roll. I'll take Miami. Lay the points.
Dolphins.
I'm taking the Jags. I think this is a Trevor Lawrence statement game
Ooh,
here
I like it.
for the Jaguars. Jacksonville.
I could definitely see.
That's all I got.
I could definitely see a
Duval.
Trevor Lawrence statement game because I think he was hurt last year, and
Yeah.
that was a big part of why he fell off so badly in the second half. I will take Miami for Mike's reasons. I think McDaniel, that offense, they always come out smoking.
Yeah.
It's because he's in the lab all summer.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Jaguars to win this game.
Okay, now that one I have that chapter. I know that.
They're not going to be affected by the weather as some teams might be.
That's true.
You know,
Jacksonville's not going to go down there and melt.
So I'll go with the Jaguars, and I agree. I think Trevor Lawrence has a lot to prove still in this league. He has not lived up to his billing coming out of Clemson, but I still think he's a really good quarterback. I think he toughs through injuries. I think there's a couple games he shouldn't have played, but he did because he's a tough kid. Despite the long hair.
Tough kid.
So I think he's got a lot to prove, and I think he's going to prove it this year. So,
you know what happened to the last content VP that talked like that? Watch yourself.
Right. So I'll take the Jaguars. 1 o'clock on Fox. The Panthers are at the Saints.
The Saints by 3.5.
By 3.5.
This might be the worst game of the week.
Yeah, this is.
These could be two of the worst three teams in football.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to just take the home team, New Orleans, and I will lay the points.
Yeah. Saints, I guess.
Yep. Are we all on the Saints?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Saints too.
Me too. All right. Fox, 1 o'clock. The Vikings are at the Giants.
Vikings, Giants. This is the other road favorite. Minnesota by 2.
Sam Darnold versus Daniel Jones. I think Giants might be wearing those terrible uniforms.
That changes everything.
You know what? I'm going to take the home upset. I'm going to take the Gigantes, and I will take the points, please.
I'm also taking the home upset.
Yeah, I like the Giants here.
Wow. So we're
No
all
love for
the
Sam
Giants.
Darnold and
I like
Justin
Dable.
Jefferson.
I think Dable's
Well,
a good coach.
I was going to say, in my pregame analysis here, I think Brian Dable, we all think he's a good coach, a good head coach, and this will be the year that he has a chance to really prove that.
Well, they have a terrible team.
I know, but if they do moderately well this year, it'll be because of
Kevin
Dable.
O'Connell's a really good coach too, you know.
Yeah, I know.
He's coaching on the other team.
I know. But
So
I'm
who you picking?
I'm taking the Giants.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised by that.
Are you? Why?
That all 5 of us.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think the Giants legitimately are one of the 3 worst teams in football.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
they're
but-
awful.
But they're home dogs.
In
week
this
one.
match, Daniel
got
Jones
Malik
has facial
Nabers.
hair now too. Can't rule that out.
Did you hear about that Malik Nabers guy? Pretty good.
Dable
right.
was exactly like I was. He was like, that kid can play. Oh, yeah.
All right, now we're going to skip over the Patriots at 1 o'clock, and we're going to move over to
your
4
phone. I'm
o'clock.
Disconcerted.
The CBS 4:05. The Raiders are at the Chargers.
Ooh,
Chargers by 3.
interesting.
The first of many
interesting game.
scintillating AFC
Yeah.
West matchups.
John Harbaugh run the ball against the guys who can't take any criticism in Vegas. I'm gonna take the Chargers at home. What did you say? Was it 2.5?
3.
3.5. 3. I'll take the Chargers. I'll lay the points.
I'm with the Chargers too. I think the Raiders are going to be the team I really irrationally hate all year.
Yeah.
They just aren't likable.
Cigars.
I'm going to take the Chargers just because they have the better quarterback, but I'm not all in on Jim Harbaugh's return to the NFL yet. I feel like people
Pants aren't tight enough for you.
getting a little too excited about this. They
So
still have holes in the
quirky.
roster. Like, we'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see.
I agree they have holes in the roster. I am all in on Jim Harbaugh in the NFL. I think the LAC will win this game. Little worried about Herbert's foot and his rust, not really having done much this summer, but I'll take the LAC.
I will take the LAC as well. 4:05 on CBS. The Broncos are at the Seahawks.
Seahawks by 6.
I think that's an easy one for me. I think I'm going to take Seattle. Bo Nix in Seattle, first start of his career. Tough place to play, loud. Seattle's got some pieces. I'll take Seattle.
Fans, crowd.
And I will lay those. I will lay those points. I think it will be a significant beatdown.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Alexandra?
TED Talk.
I will. Wow, am I in trouble?
No.
I'll take Seattle.
It's like Michael. Michael?
I'll give them points too.
I'm gonna take Seattle, but that's a big spread for Week 1. So I'm gonna take the Broncos to cover. But I like what Seattle's cooking.
Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of good things out of Seattle. I'm not really sure I believe it, but I'm going to take the cheese in week 1, and I'm going to do the Deuce and Alex thing and lay the points.
I will take the Hawks, but I will take those points because Broncos, I think, are going to be a little better than people think.
Little
this year.
feisty?
Yeah, yeah.
Little feisty?
Yeah.
Bonus.
4:25 on Fox. The Cowboys are at the Browns.
Otherwise known as the game that Tom Brady will be
Yes.
making his debut.
Ooh.
Browns by 2.5. Mike, we might have to get some audio up on Red Zone this
Oh yeah,
this
there you
week.
go. I don't
Matt,
really-
you're going to
I
have
don't
to
really
effort
need to hear
that?
I don't need to hear that. So the Browns are favored, huh? That's interesting.
Browns by
I guess
2.5
The
at
line
home.
moved over to them based
That is
on
a
when I
little bit
printed this.
surprising.
I will take Dallas, please, and I will.
You get 2
take
points
those
at home.
points. What does it mean?
It's a toss-up.
You're taking Dallas
Yeah, I'll take
outright?
Dallas.
Dallas upset.
Dallas. This is a silly line. Deshaun Watson
Come on, what are we
hasn't been
doing?
good since like 2019.
Yeah, well, I'm going to save my thoughts. I will take Cleveland. I feel like they're the better team.
I'll hedge my bet here. I'll take the Browns, but I'll take the points. Yeah, I love it when the Cowboys lose. The Commanders, this is a 4:25 game, are at the Buccaneers.
Tampa by 3.5. Jaden Daniels.
Yeah,
debut.
Jaden Daniels, Premier Gardner Minshew. Jeez, I almost called freaking Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield settled in there. I'm going to take Tampa at home. I will lay the points.
I will take Tampa. Really rooting for them in Baker. I'll give them the points as well.
Taking Tampa both ways. Baker bakes, and
Let Baker bake.
They roll here
Yep.
in this game.
Yeah, I think it's they'll be hard pressed to go down to Tampa. Daniels' first game, bad offensive line, hot.
Yeah.
They just fired their VP of content.
hot heat.
Oh, I know.
Content is a
Okay.
mess.
Team could not win a game after losing
Tampa,
their VP of content.
Tampa both
How do you
ways.
recover? I mean,
I will
what
go-
if we lost Fred?
I know. Who would
You'd
hype up
lose
the
me
boys?
too, because that's my only protection I have.
Yeah, if he goes, we all go.
I will
you
go-
guys will be all right. You're young.
Very rudderless.
I will go with the Buccaneers as well. Let Baker bake. The league is better with him in it. Paul likes that.
You do. You make me laugh. Fred.
Sunday night on NBC and Universo, the Rams are at the Lions.
Another really good
That's a good
game. The Lions 3.5 over the LAR.
It's the same number. I don't know. There's so much Detroit hype right now. Their Super Bowl pick. I'm tempted to say they are smelling their own farts a little bit and
Wow.
gonna not come out precision, but I can't do it. I'm gonna go Detroit at home. I'll lay the points. Actually, you know what?
3.5.
Sorry, Paul. You haven't written. I'm gonna take the hook for the Rams,
Take
please.
the hook.
I'm gonna do the same thing.
I'm taking the Rams.
Raw.
Matthew Stafford. Big game.
Tight pants.
Big
Puka-
game.
Tight
Puka
pants.
Nakua. he's
Tight
back.
pants versus tight pants in this one because
That's
Ben
true. Ben
Johnson's on the
Johnson,
other
right.
sideline.
Yeah.
That's a lot
But
of tight pants.
I like the Rams in this one. Is like the Lions will be fine long term, but I like the Rams for the upset.
Okay.
Yeah, I was really thinking about taking the upset. I'm going to take Detroit, but I'll take the LAR with the points. I definitely think the Rams can win this game outright, though. That playoff game there was nothing to decide the two teams. They were very even.
Yeah.
Detroit ended up holding on. These are two good teams
Yeah,
that I expect to both
I
be
love
in
watching both these teams.
I expect both of them to be in the playoffs again.
Yeah.
Perfect. We'll be done with our game. I mean, you might be.
I'm going to take the Lions both ways in this game. Okay, we move to Monday night, 8:15. I need you to take your notepads out. This game is on ESPN, ABC, ESPN2, ESPN Plus, and ESPN Deportes.
and
the Ocho.
ESPN 8 the Ocho.
The Jets with Aaron Rodgers are at the 49ers with Brock Purdy.
Niners by 4.5.
It's another really good game. Fun way to end off week one. I think probably Aaron Rodgers is going to get hurt again. I'll take San Francisco.
Wow.
I love that. Great game, but I think he gets
Predicting
hurt.
injuries.
Could you imagine
I'll lay
if it
my
was
side
like
of
the
the
first
street now.
play?
I would love it.
I'll lay
You
the
would
point.
love it.
He's the only guy that I just can't stand. It's just him.
Yeah.
That's a little harsh. I'm gonna take San Francisco to win, but I'm gonna give the Jets the points. I could see them like making it close and then just losing in total Jets fashion at the end of the game or something.
I'm tempted to take the Jets because the Niners kind of slapped this together in the end, and like 7 of their players haven't practiced all summer, and it's just
Yeah.
kind of this craziness. But I just think the 49ers are better, so
They'll
I'm
play
going to
for
take
Ricky.
take the 49ers both ways, and I'm not buying anything about the Jets this season. Thank you.
Yeah, I will take the Niners to win simply because they're at home, but I will take the points. Too many points. I think the Jets are loaded.
Yeah.
I think people are just rooting for an injury.
I agree.
Well,
Well,
seriously,
yeah,
they're just rooting for an injury.
There's no doubt if the Jets stay healthy in a couple key areas,
Well, just the quarterback.
They will jet.
They're loaded to win, but
Jets gonna
it's
jet.
the Jets.
They will.
Something bad will happen. Something
That's all
bad will
anybody
happen
has.
in this game.
I just need one person to give me something
Well,
like football based.
But
Yeah, but when that's all you need-
something bad happens every year.
That's all you need.
No, I
You've
just
got
need,
history
I
on
need,
your
I need
side.
something other than bad juju, and the quarterback's going to get.
I
hurt
don't.
again.
I have
Okay,
no
well, that's
idea
all
if
I
the
got.
coach can
That's
coach.
all anybody
That's all I
has.
got.
I have no idea if the coach can coach
I don't think he needs to.
in like a real game. Like I'm sure he can coach.
Well, the coach is Aaron Rodgers.
No, the coach is Robert Saleh, and I'm not sure that when the rubber hits the road, if he actually is a good coach, because
All
we've
right.
never seen it.
I'm going to take the 49ers out of spite. Okay.
I'm with you.
I respect you.
Spite
I
pick.
respect that. I do.
Gotta hurry.
You're telling me why?
Yeah.
Spite. I like it.
Now we go back to 1 o'clock on CBS. The Patriots are at the Bengals.
Evan, you were looking for big spreads. This is the biggest.
Sheesh.
Bengals by 8.5.
The disrespect.
The disrespect.
Disrespecting us.
Actually opened at 9.5.
Actually, they're
Money's coming
respecting
on
us.
the Patriots.
Right. Respecting
Yeah,
us.
I would really like to pick the Patriots here. I'd love to see them pull off an
Then
upset.
go ahead.
But I'm not going to.
Pussy.
I think that the, I don't think the Bengals are going to roll over them on offense. I think the defense of the Patriots will put up a good fight and hold them to under 21 points. I went with 20-10, Bengals. So I'll take Cincinnati and I will lay the
Ugh.
points.
That's gonna be a fun one.
Please don't have a lot of those games for me to watch.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Bengals win.
Bengals win.
Patriots cover.
Patriots.
Hell
There
cover.
you go.
We're
At
gonna
least
cover.
you're halfway there.
We're gonna cover. What's the spread again?
8.5.
8.5. Okay, so 28-20.
Right on
There
the
you
line.
go.
There you go.
Barely covered.
It's a very
but
it's a very plausible score.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
me doing the math
Sure.
in my head on the spot.
I'm gonna say the same thing. Patriots lose, but they cover, and the main reason is just that there's some trends that favor them in this game. Some early season Bengals trends, AVP's
What about the
familiarity.
early season Patriots?
We ignore those, Fred. It's New England.
I think this game is a lot like the Eagles opener last year,
And who,
where
who covered in that game?
where the Patriots hang around.
Eagles.
They kind of
Well,
are
they didn't cover,
competitive.
you know.
It's not a
Yeah.
complete crap show.
It's just not
Where we
listening.
come in
Nope.
and we're like, wow, we almost beat the Eagles.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
God, we
no,
gotta
And then we
hurry.
get
It's fine.
dropped down to
I-
reality.
I'll take that as a win. Go ahead.
23-20.
23-20.
Bengals.
I like it.
Wow.
Yeah, I think this game. I think the Bengals will have a hard time getting started for obvious reasons. They haven't really played together all summer. But once they get their footing, I think the second half is not all that close. I think they pull away with just too much star power. 27-16, Cincinnati.
Okay. The Patriots aren't going to allow the Bengals to get their footing. Defense is going to be on display for this game. Patriots win outright, 13-11.
You don't believe that.
I sure do. And I'm
That's
putting
a
it,
phase
I'm-
of conviction.
I'm putting it out there in the universe. It's going to manifest
Yes.
itself.
Paul didn't
Yeah.
even say anything.
I
Speak
believe
it into
him.
existence.
I believe everything he just said that he believes.
13-11 Patriots. Mark it down. We'll be back. Well, they'll be back on the post-game show on
Pregame.
on Sunday. Pre-game show starts at
10:45.
10:45. Post-game show starts immediately after the game, so tune into that. Obviously, tune into the game to see who's right and who's wrong.
Catch 22 coming up.
Catch 22 coming up with Alex
Yes,
Barth.
He's in the other room.
Now, are you guys going to do picks on that show as well? Or
We are going to pick some preseason, predictions of awards. League MVP.
But I
Rookie of
mean,
the
you're not
Year.
going to go around the league and do all that?
We might do division winners, but not for this opening week. No,
Okay.
more like futures. Futures, right? That's what we're called.
All right, so I just want to make sure, though, if you do pick games, that you're consistent. No picking differently on that show than
No.
you did this show.
No,
Yeah.
no, this show is the pick show, but we might do some future bet,
Okay.
MVP things like that.
All right. Great. Catch 22 coming up. Thank you for watching our first week of in-season shows. We will see you next Tuesday.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.
The world's original podcast.